Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bridge the Gap, the little interview show we have running over at Behind That Suit. And yes, as Sammy C says, we are joined today by the beautiful Lorelai Lahiri. I hope I said that right, because the last time we did this isn't our first run through. We start this off with story time, all right? It's story time.
That's how you fucked up my name last time. And like right
No, last time it was awful.
5 minutes before, we said like, this is how you say it, and then you got on and it was like you forgot everything.
I literally did.
Love is real.
Yo, welcome to Bridge the Gap. So yeah, we did the first one and whatever, but the goal now in general is to bridge the gap in knowledge is what the show's kind of become. So a way that we do that here is to run through your very story and to go through your life a little bit and to look at the different things that you have done in the past and how your life progressed and just kind of what you're up to now and to kind of walk through it all. Like imagine that there's a Wikipedia page out there that doesn't exist yet for you, and one of the things they're going to be like is you need sourceable media. So this is sourceable media that accomplishes that goal.
This is the best media, so I'm super down.
Awesome. So, I mean, basically Lorelai, as y'all heard, is a super talented artist. She is quite the personality. I called this episode, I described it as a Montreal artist with Snazzle Pop. And then I put in brackets, you'll see what I mean.
Pop. I'm sassy, you know? Got that snazz.
And so, like, I'm like...
That's what works.
So yeah, definitely thought that was like fucking like she's so fun. I've seen her perform live. She has a great show, a great presence, a great energy, and she's very authentic, true and true. She's like one of those people where like what you see is what you're gonna get. But yo, she's actually doing some boss ass shit in her life too that is worth exploring and getting into. And actually part of why I wasn't so comfortable with the first episode is because we didn't talk about that enough. And that was like boss shit that you have moving on. And so it's important for me to make sure that we give you the real justice about who you are and all that stuff. But we are going to do it right. We're going to do it bridge the gap style. So let's say we're going to do the first question. Basically, it kind of boils down to some shit that I realized while watching my girlfriend wash the dishes. So she was listening to the Black Eyed Peas song, the one that's like, I got a feeling, whatever, and she's vibing out. She's cleaning her dishes. It's like fucking chores music and shit, right? Like, so this is her chores music. But at the same time, I mean, 10 years ago, that's in the clubs, fucking bopping and jumping around music, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
So that means that we're at the situation where what once was chores music, like, you know, maybe what your parents were listening to when you were growing up, is also actually club music in their life once upon a time too. And then I realized as I started asking people, yo, there's car music, and then there's vibe music, and then there's sibling music was a new one that got added into the mix recently. So there's all these different musics. And the reason we start here is because when people ask about musical influences, they start a little bit too late for my liking. By the time you're thinking about what you care about, you already have this like palette of experiences that were forced upon you by those around you. So obviously there's the pop music of the era. That's fine. But let's talk about the other stuff that you grew up with that was big influences that came from your parents, family, that kind of shit. And what kind of vibes were around?
Love this question because it's so confusing to me actually as an artist, because like I started listening to the Cranberries and that was just like a random find, like a junk drawer of my mom's. Then I was listening to the radio, so like anything that was like top 40 at that time. But we're talking like radio in like the 90s, so like we had those really radio songs. Even the like, last time, I love you always, forever, near or far, push it together. Like that's still my jam to this day, and like that was like what 30 years ago. So,
guess
we have that, and then you know, high school was a whole different genre. It was more like the Avril Lavigne, the Billy Talent.
We're gonna get to high school. We gotta do this in parts, right? So this is like the deep dive. High school, that's a whole other question. That might even be 2 questions from now, because we got a couple of stuff. So we in your youth, what was like the stuff from your youth that was significant? Like that Sixpence None the Richer, fair enough. That shit is some youth shit for real.
We're like pre-teen, I guess. Like, you know.
Yeah, because the second question I ask is actually about your teenage identity and how it starts to form. Because what I realized is that the real formation of stuff isn't really like, so you finding a Cranberries tape and getting into it is like down the line, right? What came before that?
Like 7 years old. Like that was like, you know, like I was always listening to music in the house. Like, I don't think we really bought CDs or tapes. It was always the radio. And I think back in the day, it was like way more routine what they would play. You know, I knew that like at 7, 10 p.m., like I would hear that song I was just singing before. So I feel like I was listening to a lot of radio, and then I discovered that whole like Cranberries tape, and Zombie became like my life.
Well, let's
And
go back to that radio thing though, because that's actually, I just want you to know that's what we're looking for here. Because I feel like we take the beginning, we calibrate a bit, but what you just described is some shit that's like lets everyone understand a little bit about what music consumption was like when you were growing up, right? That's part of the story.
it's
So
like that's
having
what we're so like as artists and as consumers of music, like we are so spoiled. We can listen to anything at any time. We listen to like an underground rapper that's super, super good, as much as we can listen to like a mainstream rapper that's super trash, you know? Like we have such a like there's such a spectrum for like what music we can listen to. Back in the day, it was the radio, or you had enough money to go buy tapes and CDs. And you know, until I got into my teenage years, I didn't really have that
and
money.
even
So
then, if you
it
think
was
about being like 5 or 6 years old, you don't have money for tapes. It's really just going to be the radio. Were you also like, was music videos and stuff on in your house, or was it just the radio?
you know what? Like I love music videos, and it's funny because I was just watching Aaliyah. Shucks, what was that one? Are You That Somebody? And I was like, whoa, this video is so simple compared to like what we do nowadays. You know, compare an R&B artist like Aaliyah like back then to like an R&B artist today. It's like I'm sure it costs a lot more money because like you know inflation, all that stuff. But if you were to do that same video today, it's like not a lot of money, and it still got that song out there, and it still meant so much. You know, so I watched a lot of music videos growing up, and I feel like those are the real ones. Like nowadays, we watch music videos, and it's kind of just a lot of fake shit. It's like, what are you guys doing? Sorry, you know how I feel about that. Like, what are you guys doing?
I think we can touch on that later on in the story. Let's get like warmed up before we really get into that kind of
Right?
stuff. We're still
It's
in
not
like your youthful era. I like just the idea of it because I mean, we're about the same age, like almost the same age, I think exactly ish. Whatever. I don't know. It's in that ballpark without going there. We're getting old, so we don't have to say numbers.
I'm old.
Whoops.
I'm fucking old.
It is what it
For a
is.
woman,
I've seen Lorelai say this shit publicly. That's why I feel comfortable making that joke. Okay, just so you know, I know I'm not supposed to make that kind of a joke with most people. It is what it is, internet. Okay, I know. But that's really cool though, because what I learned about you right there that's actually significant is because you do a lot of pop now, right? Let's be real. You're really good at pop.
you know, it's funny because like I used to say like pop music was Britney Spears and like all that stuff, but like now pop is just popular music that plays on the radio. Like Drake does pop music.
It
You know,
was
as much as you
all.
want to say pop, as much as you want to say he's rap, like he does pop music. It plays on the radio, it's pop.
I would
That's like
agree that that's big facts, but that's why I'm kind of saying it like that because I'm saying a lot of what you create today, I would argue, is extremely radio friendly. And so the
it's
fact is, if you look at the very beginning, because sometimes people are giving me different answers. So sometimes the more musically diverse people might say some shit like, "Yo, I had access to a whole collection of like tapes and shit, and I
I
listened."
wish. I have friends who are like, I had like my mother's records and like they have a record player and all that stuff. I wish, you know, but I guess at the same time, it's like I am where I am right now because of my life. But like, imagine if I would have had all those records and
You know
those
what? Maybe you'd
yeah.
be really bad at making pop songs.
You know, maybe I'd be just a really bad artist because I'd be too influenced by everything I was hearing. You
I
know,
don't want to say that. Most of these people are really great artists, but not all of them can nail a pop song the way I think you can. And I'm saying that not to like, look, I'm not into gassing
no,
people up. If
do
I'm
it.
saying that compliment, it's because I sincerely think that we just played a bunch of radio friendly pop sounding stuff for a bunch, like I just really believe in that. Like it is what it is. So I think that's why it's so interesting to start there because you ended up in this direction, and regardless to what you chose to listen to in high school and with all of that shit, we can even trace it back to the fact is you had the radio. That's where it all started for you, and then we evolve into whatever your journey ends up being. So
Yeah.
that's why it's so great to discuss this shit for me. Because I think like, especially like, when I talk to a 20-year-old, and I love these 20-year-olds, they fuck me up. They make me feel so like, wow, I'm a grandpa. But like, they're like, I was like 10 years old and it was just YouTube. I could listen to Golden Era and Boom Bap and Trap and everything. And I'm like, damn, hey, imagine your whole life is YouTube. My adult life is YouTube, right? Like not my like young life. Anyhow, let's go back to your story, and the next phase is going to be your musical identity, which we figure is about puberty, and maybe this is related to this Cranberries tape things. But usually, and I say about puberty because that just seems to be the average, somewhere in that 8 to like 13 range. People are like, I found this song, and I started to like cling on to this shit, and it started their like musical identity. And why don't you walk us through, like, I guess that musical identity throughout high school and how music influenced you and what you did, with that?
Um, it's really funny because I'm actually trying to think like, did I want to be like a pop star, like a an artist back in like when I was like 8 years old? I don't think I did. I just loved music and I was listening to it. It was more in my teens where like I was like I'm in high school and around a lot of people and I'm not really fitting in. So all of a sudden I can listen to music and I'm like, wow, that person fits in with me. So I felt like I had a friend kind of thing. Um, so
Yeah, that's real.
really like it really started like my musical identity started in high school because I was able to identify with other artists when I couldn't identify with my own peers. So for me, I even say this. I say I make music to give back because music like it saved my life, So I need to pay my dues. I need to do that for somebody else. Like that's my job. If I'm gonna do music, that is my job. So I
So
feel like
tell.
Avril Lavigne, Billy Talent, like 3 days. It's all like this like emo fucking shit because I had a lot of emotions back then. Still do, but yeah. So that really I identified so much to that. It was just like people not afraid to say what's going on and what like that they're sad because like in high school you can't be sad, you have to be happy all the time and like I didn't really
Yo,
so
yo,
I
I
loved
want
listening
you to
to my
like feel free to.
Billy Talent.
I want you to feel free to expand on that kind of shit because high school's trash in my opinion. It was trash for
Oh,
me. I had a
so
lot of like the same kind of emotions. I had a lot of trouble fitting in with people, and I also personally connected with a lot of the same exact music you listed. Like I bumped
yeah.
that Avril shit. I fucking bumped that Billy Talent. Yo, why would she put me through such torture? Like yo,
I would have given my life for her.
I'm like, who didn't break up with somebody and want to fucking sing that shit? You know what I'm
Oh my
saying? Like that was
god.
everybody's breakup song for a minute.
I wasn't
So
even breaking someone, but I wanted to be able to sing that song. So
high
they
school's a weird time though. But I think it's so cool that for you, right off the jump, it really was about relating to people. And I think that that's important because, especially in this day and age, in questions like authenticity and fantasy and fakeness and realness, right? Like when we think about the youth, and if our goal is to ever create for the youth, we can either create some fantasy for them to relate to or something real for them to relate to. So just even sharing how much that music mattered to you back then is an interesting facet.
Well, for me, like we talked about my age before, so I'm a bit older. So I feel like if I was in my 20s, I can make that, super bubblegum shit and like kind of get away with it. But like now I'm at a certain age where I want to make music that's substance. I say I want to leave my fingerprints, like I just don't want to leave this earth with like nothing to like give because like music is what I can do. And I feel like it's a gift. And I feel like if I can be honest and say what's really going on, someone out there's gonna be like, fuck man, that's my life. Thank goodness she's saying it. I can vibe to it. Thank goodness I'm not alone. And that's how I felt growing up. And that's why I do like music is like I say, save music, save the world. Give more substance to music. It will heal you. So yeah.
Yo, you are gonna find as you talk to Lorelai, she has fucking slogans for anything, like everything. It's just fucking slogans for days. Like it's amazing.
I should have
Back
copyright. Whatever.
no, but like it's cool because like part of being an artist is I think the outside of the music part. Like the character that we all play is kind of part of it. So the being able to have catchphrases and things like that kind of builds into the lore that is Lorelai.
Yeah.
That's one of those things
Brand.
like
My brand. It's like I want to say so much, but how can I say it in one sentence to make sure like the fans and like people who are listening understand it? Because I could talk all day and I can explain to people, but nobody has time for this. Like it's like not everybody is going to sit down and watch this. So how can I say what I want to say in one sentence? And I just
trust.
find these catchphrases that are just
We're up to
ridiculous.
like 14 people. People are gonna sit down and watch this. Not everyone the whole time, but
Don't do that though. I get nervous.
so let's go back into high school. There's at least one more thing that you did. I thought that was interesting in high school that you mentioned on the last interview that I think you need to bring up and expand upon related to your artistic journey.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of talent shows back in high school. Like every year we do the talent show. I think it was like twice a year. And it's funny because it was always in the background. And I loved I loved music and everything like that. But I'm not that kind of person who's gonna throw myself and be like, look at me, look at me, look at me. So I just like doing the background and like I had a good time. But I swear it's like that's when I started really realizing like I kind of want to do this maybe, you know. So yeah, that was fun. And we made the joke
Tell us
last time
about your
because
talent shows.
I was like, we made the joke last time because I'm like, I probably performed for more people back then than I do now. Like, we're talking like 100, 200 people. We're lucky if we get like maybe 50 to 100 people at a show, like, you know, like we put together. So I find it really hilarious. Back in the day, I was performing for more people with less talent.
To be fair, it actually makes a lot of sense. As much as people don't necessarily realize it, some of these bigger shows had a lot of crowd because minors were allowed in. So I know that nobody wants to talk about it, but
absolutely right. And parents, and you know, like, oh, like my parents aren't going to come to a show at like 11 o'clock at night. Like that's just not what they're doing. Like
no,
maybe like
so let me rephrase that. I mean, my first show is at a bar. It's no longer open. The bar.
What was it called?
But the CFC. But literally 17-year-olds could get in. They couldn't drink in the bar, so they would get their drink on next to the bar at the depanneur.
Because you were like overage, like is that like, or like what was the thing?
I was 25 or whatever, so it was not an issue for me.
Wear bracelets, and like if you had a bracelet, you can drink, you know. But
so those were some places. We're talking like a low-end underground bar that ultimately had shows going on, and a lot of the reason the shows were packed is because youth got in. And I'm not saying that it's the only thing that was successful. It's just I can tell you that at places that fully carded, those kids couldn't go there, and that's one element that changed. There's so many elements that changed in the live scene, but one thing that is really interesting is youth actually do show up to shit. So if you have a bunch of 16-year-olds, they're gonna go to a thing.
Because they want role models more than anybody. Like at my age, like I love having role models. I say I look up to Naya Ali because like she's in Montreal and she's like a Black woman who's like, you know, just doing everything I kind of want to like do as an artist. So I look up to them. But like as 16-year-olds, like we can just easily like they're gonna go out and they're looking for that. They want to relate. They want to connect.
But even like you as a 16-year-old being on a stage, you become a role model in that moment, right? To those people because you're exhibiting the bravery, and you were singing and stuff back then, right?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of singing, but I was doing a lot of dancing too. Like I was a big dancer back then. It's so I was just thinking about the other day. I'm professionally trained as a dancer. So like it's just it's just like some fun facts.
Yo, we have a question from Lami like 345, and if we get user questions, let's do it.
Let's do it.
But basically, what is a favorite decade that inspires you musically?
Oh my goodness, I love this. I wanted to answer this on Facebook the other day. Okay, so a decade that inspires me is like Houston rap. I have to say that Houston rap, but like 2005 to like 2012. Like, oh my goodness, I can't even deal.
You're gonna have to elaborate on why it inspires you.
Okay, so I love rap music. I actually started as a rap artist. You know, I fell into pop because I just happened to do it. But I love to be able to express myself, and I feel like they keep it really real down there. Like in Houston, like everybody has each other's back. They push each other. It's like this really great community down there for like rap. If you're real, they'll be real with you. So I listen to a lot of this, like, you know, Trey the Truth and Killa Kalyan, Pimp C, Bun B. I'm laughing because like people are just like, what? You listen to that?
Everyone gets
I really do though. Andre
it's good music. He's not from Houston though.
I know, but I'm saying South. I'm saying South rap. Like that era where like, because like right now everything's like super commercial. I feel like from 2013, like things started getting really commercial.
So I can actually respond to that idea a little bit. Yeah. So it's more that Billboard Billboard got more important than ever. And so I don't know it's so much that things are, is that Lister Linda Williams for real? That would be ridiculously cool.
Pardon?
I think some Lami like 345 is Mr. Linda Williams is what he was just telling me. That's one of the patrons, OG, that's fucking like been with us ride or die for like years and shit. So that's a huge moment. So that's fucking cool that he would pop on and even like just join it like that. So that's a big moment that you're sharing with us. Is all I'm saying. That's fucking cool as fuck.
I see that.
Yo, if you look at what made hip hop pop back in the day, what actually made them rise on the charts is a lot of actually like the streets were selling albums, and then Billboard was almost secondary. It reflected the streets. Now people look to Billboard to dictate the trends, and it's like, nah, Billboard is just a reflection of sales though. Like it was never really like a determiner of what's hot. It's just what sold.
It's marketing. You know what I mean? Like I could sell trash if I market it right. I'm sorry.
And
Like I love Billboard and I think it's great to look up to. But as an
but
artist, I
then
kind of cool.
there's
That's great.
also
But that's
like
me.
one other like huge thing that changed though with relation to Billboard is like it used to like if you go back to like the 70s, let's say, it used to cost like I don't know $50,000 to market a song on the radio. Now it's like $3.5 million or even more
Huh?
to push a single.
I thought it would go low. You went higher.
Yo,
It's like more.
to push a single to like mass radio and everything is big business. That's huge money to actually push a single correctly for like a label push, right? So when you look at it from the return on investment point of view of a label and the majors, they don't have a huge choice. They need to do what's going to sell. So in a way, you're right. In the major leagues, it did go in a certain direction because of the importance of sales and all of that, the decline of the industry. But by the contrast of that post in that same time, the underground went ahead and flourished. And so all the great
That's
shit's been out there.
a lot of people keep telling me, don't sign any papers, don't sign to a label, you'll be better independent. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, But I
That's a big
understand what
question.
you're saying as like, um, depending on like, I guess depending on your artistry, I guess, if you have a big clout, like, I guess you can kind of do it on your own and be independent. Like that's what they do in Houston, like out the trunk music. That's what they were doing. That's what I respect about them. But I think for me, it's like I actually need that label behind me. I actually need that business side to come and like, guide the marketing and all that stuff. So I don't know.
See, that's actually an interesting point. So I saw this article. I'm happy to go on tangenty. That's what makes this shit fun for me. So this is great.
I'm drinking.
Don't worry about it. But basically, I read this article about the hidden cost of being independent, and where like it really, like people don't necessarily, and I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm personally not gonna go get signed because I'm just like I don't think I'm the right kind of guy for that shit. But I also am aware that I'm gonna have to pay for my own travel, book my own hotel rooms, deal with my own promoting, going the amount of like actual people skills that you need to run your own operation, the politics side of it all, like you have to put up with every ego you encounter and smile. Like that is part of the job of running your operation. You have to smile
That's
at
the
every
thing.
ego.
I can do that. It's no stress. But I can't be Lorelai and do that person because they're two different people. The person is
Mm,
going to be like, okay, no problem. Like, understand people's egos and all that stuff. That's not my brand. My brand is
right.
not about shit. So for me to have to go be that person in one moment and then be Lorelai in the next is too confusing for people. That's why when I got my management, that's the most important thing for me. It's like they need to be the bad guy. They need to be I need to just be able to be me, creative, and that's all people see. Because as soon as I put business quiche out there, like forget about it. Like I worked in business for 10 years. I know how to, but it's not the
Woo.
same as like art. I'm cool, I'm chill, I'm relaxed. Like I want to stay that person. So by having my management, I don't have to be that like wolf in the boardroom anymore. But I totally get what you're saying. Like I super get it. Like it's
Well,
it's funny you say that, and I'm just like mind blown because it's exactly why I signed my management contract.
but it's like even I'm sitting there going, honestly, if I can find the right person in the right situation, I would sign like a management deal with the right people if we had the right goal alignment. I'm
Yeah.
not willing to like here's the thing. I don't have a problem with the right person telling me what to do. As long as I get to like decide the because if you have a manager, you're the one telling a manager what they're managing. At the end of the day, right? Like you're still the boss. It's just honestly, there's so many details. So many like I personally have no desire to go like chase shit. I don't know. I don't want to chase it. Like I don't know if
All I
that
want
makes sense
is
to you.
that's me. Like just keep me running. I love it. I always need to be on the
But like
go.
I mean, I like grinding. I like working on shit, but I like creating. So, like, to me, this podcast or this interview thing, like, this is a cooler way for me to go about doing it. But there are probably smarter ways that I could, like, approach everything about being more aggressive, let's say. I don't know that I'm the right guy to actually do that because then I have
Yeah,
to think like that and then I can't be, like, fun. And so I
exactly.
really resonate
That's what
with what
I'm
you're
saying.
saying.
Like I could be person, I could be aggressive, I could be all those things, but that's not the brand I'm selling as an artist. So like I can't like people aren't gonna be like, oh, she's one person and another person. No, they see me as one, so I have to pick one. It's Lorelai, so I can't be that aggressive. Like I dealt with it so much. Like as soon as I start to say something, as soon as I have to fight for something, it's like I Lorelai, who's like this sweet, like nice, like person just wants to like, share her emotions. Like, they're just like, why are you so angry then? It's like, no, we're two different people. One's business, one's artistry. Like, no, you can't do that. You got to stick to one and just go with it.
Yo, these are big time knowledge nuggets, and I say that like because I'm trying to figure out like
It's so true.
rules, and
Like,
I think
I have people I talk to that like I really, really like, but because I was in the business situation with them, I had to act a certain way. But like as a friend, like fuck all the business. I like you as a person. Like I like you as a human. But business wise, so it's really difficult. Like I've lost a lot of friends actually. Like, so
I mean that seems to be a common theme with
it's not like
rising up. I mean, well, like here's the thing. Just on the idea of friends, right? Like I don't really have any of the friends I used to have, really. Like people try to be friends with me a lot, and I'm like, are you sure you want to be my friend? Like, do you really know what being my friend entails? Like, it's not a simple thing to be friends with me. You might like the idea of being my friend, but then you get to know me.
Girlfriend, like you might like the idea of being my boyfriend, but trust me, you do not want to be my boyfriend. I feel you.
I mean, I'm just like, yeah, it's because like there's an intensity and a certain degree. Like, yo, I don't chill. I don't know how to chill. It's just what it is. I'm good at doing things. Like when we watch a movie, I'm like, okay, what can I do? I'm just sitting here watching a movie. I'm not very good at watching a movie.
Much, it's unbelievable. Well, yeah.
But no, so to me, it's like what I realized is talking about this kind of stuff is also really interesting to people because I think a lot of people relate to it. A lot of people maybe can't sit through a movie also, and just hearing other people talk about not sitting through a movie, it turns out that regular shit's kind of like relatable.
It is. Everything's relatable. Gotta have the right vision for it.
So like, okay, let's go back to you. Like there was another thing you did in high school I thought that was interesting that wasn't even the talent show because I'd forgotten about that, I'm not gonna lie. The other thing had to do with your pen game and what you would do in terms of writing in high school.
I've been writing since I'm 14 years old. I used to do a lot of, and I was actually talking about this the other day. I didn't know that like as I'm doing this hobby, this like writing your emotions down, poetry, like Shakespeare, whatever, like doing all that stuff and creating songs with just melodies, no beats. I had no idea that I was preparing myself and giving myself the skills to be where I am right now. So a lot of people are just like, oh, you started 2 years ago, and I'm like, yeah, but I've been writing my entire life, and even if it was good or bad, like I was still practicing for like. Since I don't want to give people away, but like at least 15 years, I've been writing without going to the studio. So I already knew how to use the metaphors. I already knew how to describe myself. I already knew how to make melodies. Like I was already doing that. Like, so
big, interesting.
I just figured the other day I was talking to somebody and I was just like, wow, that's exactly what I'm talented, but I'm skilled because I was practicing a skill that I didn't know was going to.
Did y'all hear what she just said there? That's some knowledge nugget shit. I'm talented, but it's based on skills. This is what it is. Because, yo, I told people for a long time, and not everyone likes it when I say this, but, like, yo, most people can learn to rap. Like, you see people who are, yo, what's up, Jamal Hussein? You see people who are, like, fucking, like, out there, and you see some whack shit in, like, year one, and you can tell these people just started rhyming, and you hear them, and they're, like, writing some interesting, and they're maybe bad, but I'm like, yo, did you hear my 16-year-old shit? No, you didn't. You're hearing me. With like literally more than half my life, I've worked on my pen game. So of course it sounds away. But yo, it used to suck. You think my 2012 effort sounded good? I mean, maybe, but no. Let's be real. No, it was garbage. Some of it's okay. Some of it aged well. Sorry, can you say that again?
No, I said I had some garbage in the beginning. Like I had songs that I was like, yeah, this is the best song ever, man. I love it. And it's like I listen to it now, I'm like, whoa. Like, thank goodness we didn't go like release that shit because it's pretty trash. But I was like fine. And like trying to find the sound. I did a lot of rap in the beginning, and
this is okay. So is this back when you're in high school and shit writing, or is this like now?
This is me. Like I was not recording back then. I didn't know.
So you just wrote it up.
I was that annoying like emo kid in the back, like singing her like. I talked to somebody like maybe 2 years ago that knew me in high school. They're just like, yeah, how are your songs doing? I had no idea that I was an artist, Like, how are your songs doing? I'm like, they're doing really great. Blah, blah, blah. And like, here's my Spotify, bitch.
But yo, I think that's really cool. Cause like, honestly, I had that same moment. People kind of made fun of me for writing my little emo raps back in high school. But like, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I have 3 albums now. Anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I relate a lot to that sentiment too. But what I think is really the knowledge nugget in what you said is that maybe sometimes you work on some shit now and you start developing a skill like writing. And I
I said,
believe you said the word copywriting earlier, which is
yeah,
related to writing. So the more writing
definitely.
you do increases your ability to write. And maybe down the line, because I know a bit your story, there's a big gap between high school and when you get into it for reals. But the fact is, what you said now is powerful. By doing it when you were young, you started clocking the experience points relevant and necessary in order to basically be able to come in like it looks like you're new, but actually they didn't see a lot of the work that went into it behind the scenes. They didn't see you studying pop star shit when you were 7 years old.
We can make it really simple. And like I'm not a huge karate like a karate kid like a connoisseur, but he does like the whole wax off wax on thing. He's like, what am I doing this for? Like, what the fuck? You know, he's getting all angry because like I'm talking about the new one, by the way, with like Jaden Smith. So he's like, what the fuck am I doing this for? You know, like I shouldn't be like, he doesn't understand that what he's doing now actually relates to something he needs to do later. And like that's how I feel about music. I was just like writing this whole time, and all of a sudden I just decided to make songs, and I was like, wow, I know how to make melodies already. It's like it's already programmed. Like I was programming myself. I was brainwashing myself to be an artist. I didn't even know.
So
You
in
know,
a
and like
sense,
I
it's
say
like
this
you
now, I'm like, I had no idea I was gonna do this in my life. This is a just by chance kind of thing that happened. So
but it's like it's a common thing that like you're doing some random shit when you're young. And this is why like if you see your kids, parents and shit who are pursuing some creatives or whatever, just consider that they could be clocking some powerful EXP, like learning some scales, some boring ass shit that they're not going to want to do when they're 25. Nobody wants to do that shit when you're 25. Let them do it when they're like 14, when it's boring and they have time.
like languages, learn languages early.
That's a good point. Actually, I'm trash at languages. I can speak French because I live here and I feel like I should. But if you're like learn new,
Bonjour.
that's a real thing, right?
That's the thing.
What's your thoughts on bonjour ho? That's a relevant topic.
No, did you not see my post about that? Like people are not having it. Like I go to Couche-Tard. I live in a very there's a lot of stores. So I have like Couche-Tard, McDonald's, Pharmaprix, Jean Coutu. I've gone to all of them and been like bonjour ho, and they're just looking at me like either I'm psycho or like get out of here. Like
We
no one likes
are.
it. I love it. I think it's cute, but like as
I
a
think
joke. I don't be real. I don't think people should take this seriously. I'm having fun with it, but like I feel like it's it's just who like did they not like who said this was okay? They're just like we're gonna say bon, and they're like yeah no problem. Like who okayed on
But that
this?
was the premier of Quebec. Okayed this. He said it. That means just so that people watching this know, because maybe there's people that aren't in Quebec. Okay.
I can't even deal.
The leader of Quebec was like, English is too problematic again. Right, COVID, because that's not an issue we should be. Anyway, English is an issue again. And then it's recommended, I don't remember the full details, but it ended up being that he recommended to change the greeting to bonjour ho. Because somehow hi or whatever was a fucking problem. Because bonjour hi is kind of a meme here. Bonjour hi, it's like a joke. I think to the point where even SNL goofed on us over it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you think this is Premier Legault
Like, that's so cool.
responding to SNL? He's like, no. Bonjour hi is not appropriate. Let's go with bonjour ho. Oh my gosh. That's a real thing that really happened, people.
You saw like it was like maybe a year and a half ago or maybe 2 years ago. They said we're in French said we're gonna cut.
If it wasn't Legault, my bad. It was somebody in the government or
Oh.
whatever. Something. I don't know. Okay. I'm not paying attention. I'm sorry. I'm getting chastised by my girlfriend in the chat right now.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Girlfriend. I love her.
Yo, your lady friend Bonnie's great. Yo,
No,
shout
it's
out
for
J7 Montreal who says, what up, Lorelai? Keep doing the damn thing.
Oh, yay. Thank you. I'm so shy. I'm like, thank you.
That's great. You're wonderful. You're killing this shit. It's a great fucking time. So is the Bloc. Oh, it was the Bloc. It's still a Quebec government party that's a real thing. Okay, it's still the fucking government. It's okay. You're with us. You saved it. It looked like you didn't let it fall. That makes you amazing at this. So, let's talk about your life. So in high school, we established that you got a lot of experience with choreography, dancing. You got experience with writing. You're an avid reader. Is something we also know. So you're doing all these things. You're honing your fucking skills. And then you finish high school. And also, you were born in Montreal. We forgot to even say that.
It's funny. I tell you, there's like because we talked about like the college and then like me being an artist. And there's a fun thing I didn't mention. I did Miss Canada back in 2007. So I knew
What?
pressure and like that kind of like fucking bullshit of like people looking at you all the time and judging.
Expand on that idea. Tell us more about doing that. You can't just throw that in casually and move on.
I know, but it's like I always forget because like it was like so long ago. I loved it actually because we were maybe 5 black girls. It was 2007 and Miss Canada, so it's like we're 5 black girls and we all like ended up like chilling together and like hanging out, and it was funny because it's the first time in my life where I'm like, wow, I'm a black woman. You know what I mean? Like, because I grew up in a very like I went to like I don't know how to explain it, but I always kind of just fit in with general society. So for the first time in my life, I'd be like, wow, I'm going to be treated differently because of my skin color. So us 5, we all hung out together, and it was really fun. But I also actually thinking like there's this one girl that didn't want to hang out with us, bitch. But anyways,
Yeah.
it was really tough because we were being judged by our looks, by our hair, by everything that like as I don't know, as a black woman today, like doesn't really we're fighting for so much harder. But back then it was just like we were just
No,
so
really expand on that. What do you mean? Like, go into detail as if stupid people are watching and they don't know what's up.
okay. Um, what do you mean? What do you want me to go into detail
Expand
for?
on the thing what you just said about the hair and the looks, what you're fighting for.
Okay, yeah. So back then it wasn't so common. Like we see a lot of girls nowadays, black girls with this beautiful natural hair, and we're so accepting to it. So back, like I remember, I spent 2.5 hours getting my hair blow dried straight, and she fucking burnt my neck. Because like that's like you need to have straight hair because if you don't have straight hair, you can't go on the stage. It's like what? I have like really nice curls, so that kind of just bullshit. And we had to fight that plus being like the best of the best. So I don't know. I feel like once you go through that and you're so young, you're 20, you're just like wow. People are like always going to judge you. People are always going to be like, they want it. Like people want to see pretty people. Like people want, or they want to see pretty people and like applaud, or they want to see the not like, like the, I wouldn't say underclass, but like the people that aren't like, we have our Instagram models right now, right? So everybody's who the Kardashian body and anybody that's not like that, like people kind of like, why don't you have this? And why don't you have that? So back then it was like this, it was the same thing. It was like the exact fucking same thing.
Yo, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people watching this are going to be dudes, right? And so talking about these kinds of issues, no, this is important for me, right? To like get this kind of content out here, right? Like the idea is, and you got shut out the curls because they are lovely and they're wonderful. That's what it is.
I love
but
them so much.
Do you know that I don't? Sorry, can you repeat that? Sometimes it cuts out.
I save like my real hair. I save like that's when I get to be quiche. Like Lorelai always has pink or blue hair or gray hair, but like my curls, like my really like that's like it's too authentic to show right now.
I like that. But what I really love about it is that you shared some really interesting, I guess we can call them truth nuggets of knowledge. I don't know. They're really powerful, what you just said. Like, it's really like, so I never sit there and think about what it could be like to be a 20-year-old girl and to be in a world where you're doing a literal beauty pageant. And then you're being judged and commodified and objectified and shit. Now, I've had a couple
it's
of
horrible. I don't wish it on anybody. It was, and I didn't have social media back then. We had like my Facebook account was created in 2007. So like that's when things were really like happening for Facebook. People started joining a lot. So like thank goodness because like if I were to do that same pageant in this like day and age, oublie ça. Like it's not the same thing. Like there's so many like. People would just troll you for no fucking reason. Like I didn't have to worry about trolls back then. Like I was doing my own thing and like there was no internet trolls. There was no bullies. I had like, real face bullies. So like either I saw them at school or like they're going to come to my house. Like no one does that. So I don't know. It's just it's a whole new age. If I were to do the pageant nowadays, it would, and actually one of my girlfriends is doing Miss Universe actually. And she did this whole promo video. I'm just like, wow, we didn't do that back then. Like it's like, anyway,
even just so like, but like for me, when I hear that kind of story, right, I try to think about my life and I try to understand more, right? Because so here's what happened. I started doing an interview show, and in November of 2020, all of a sudden people saw me as a guy doing interviews, and not to say I wasn't doing stuff before, but holy crap, have people hit me up in the DMs in a way where if you were to replace a link with a dick pic, it is exactly what you go through. So I'm starting to have a small scale version of what that feels like with the same kind of guys who probably would just send those pictures is how I'm relating it to people. So I'm starting to have these little pockets of moments where I'm like, holy shit, what do girls actually have to deal with? So
what's up is like guys go through that shit too. I didn't know that, but I talked to my guy friends like, yo, like I get like they don't get vagina pics, but like they get like girls like blah blah blah. Like I can't even. I'm sorry. I didn't know guys. Like I didn't know girls were that aggressive. You know, I thought guys were the aggressive. The guys are the predators. Blah 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 blah. No, girls are just as fucking bad, yo. I'm sorry. Like I've seen the messages. Girls are just as fucking bad. They just don't talk about it. You know what I mean? So
That's fair.
I have to be honest. Like I would love to be like a men's right activist because I feel like they don't like they're getting walked all over this craziness, but like they're like I don't know, man. Like it's just not fair to like be like, oh, girls have so much problems online, like guys have problems online too. You know what I mean? Like it's just a different ball game, but it's like the same kind of effect, like the same kind of energy it takes from you.
I mean, there are differences, and I definitely get what you mean when you say the men's rights activist things. It's one of those
like,
terms that's kind of a weird one because,
I
unfortunately,
know, right?
the
What would it be
loudest
like?
proponents
I'm a
of
men-
it.
I'm a meninist.
Well, it's more like the truth is that everything included in what they want is just included in feminism. So why is there a separate term? But that comes down to like a language issue. So
Now
I mean,
that comes down to Black Lives Matter. We have to say feminism because we have to fight for so much that we want. It's the same thing. Like we have to say Black Lives Matter and make it so like because like the only time we get to fucking speak out is when something crazy happens. We had to make a movement that really said like, yo, Black Lives Matter. So feminism, like women's rights matter, you know? And I agree with that. And I,
but
you know,
here's the
like
thing. I can tell you without details because, you know, it is what it is, that being a white guy has gotten me into certain moments in life that were advantageous to my success.
of course.
So that's why the men's rights activist thing is kind of weird because it is in
No,
line with
I'm
witch
I'm
houses.
I'm mostly talking.
Okay.
I don't like racist or whatever, but I'm talking about Black men because I see these
That's
problems
fair.
that happen with Black men, and it fucking pisses me off.
Okay, so let me tell you something I learned that on that subject. And I don't know how truthful it is or to the degree, but just on this, no, this is real shit. Listen, if anyone wants to get mad at us for talking about real shit, that's their issue. In my opinion, this is some powerful stuff. But I saw this stat that there's this trend, and I don't know to what degree, where older Black ladies will take advantage of younger men because they feel lonely in exchange for things like housing and food.
PS5s. I saw the meme.
No, but I mean, it's a real thing that actually happens in
I know.
certain communities. And it is effectively, like, we're talking like 14, 15-year-olds sometimes.
Oh,
And
no, I
it doesn't ever, like, get talked about because of that stigma that, well, they're dudes, so it is what it is.
But we're getting past that, thank goodness. And I didn't even know this existed. I know that different types of races, older women will go after younger guys. I didn't know they were underage.
It's just, it's more prominent in certain hoods, in certain communities.
Are you serious? Are we dead serious? Like these are like this is like enough. Like there's statistics, statistics.
I don't have hard statistics, but I've
no, I don't
encountered
want
it.
them. But like there's enough.
Yeah.
Like,
there's enough like where like it's a
Good.
trend that's unreported, and people like I've seen hints of it in multiple sources. I've seen hints of it in books I've read related to like urban life in the hood. Because I went on this like crazy reading spree, and then I started noticing things where like check it, you have a situation where like you have like 15, 16-year-old guys that have nowhere to go, and you have these lonely older women, and so they create like almost an exchange. He makes sure she feels comfortable.
Picture this, it's a white guy I know, but like that kind of thing where he's like he you know he does the groceries for her, he like fucks her, whatever, blah blah. But like I think it's called Spread. And it's about like a younger guy with an older woman, and like, but they're both white, and that's why you say black. I'm like, really?
I mean, I was more. I didn't
issue.
see it as prominent in other communities. I don't know that it's not. I'm saying this is the only thing I ever saw that if I were to Google, I'm pretty sure I could find things on in particular. So I'm not saying this from a position that it's not a universal problem. I'm saying I've never encountered it much. For all I know, it is a huge problem and nobody's talking about it.
But dude, okay, we have Madonna who just dates like people younger than her son. Then we have that whole Jada Pinkett thing. You know, that guy was super young too. Women are always dating younger men, but they don't get like. And I got mad because like if this was a guy, it wouldn't be the same thing. Okay, yes, we already know that because guys are just known to be more predatorial. But like, I'm not saying that women can't be. It's just like there's more men that are going to be that way than women, so they get more of that like that shine, that bad shine. But it doesn't mean it's not happening. I just never thought it was a community thing. I never thought that there were underage.
I think it's linked to poverty this particular issue is linked to a poverty-stricken
Really?
situation where it's not like, and again, I don't know a lot of like I'm trying to be as vague as possible so that because I don't want to go ahead and say some shit after where like
No, you're
people
like
are
rat
like
out. You're
Holden
like,
said this shit. No, it's not about people even. It's just shit where I've seen people post about it on Facebook. I've seen multiple, and it's always black ladies posting about it. And so it's not like I'm trying to like make this up. I've just never seen it coming from other communities. But yo, are you still with us? You just disappeared video wise.
yeah, no, it's my iPad's gonna die, so I'm just gonna charge it. Give me 1 second to
No
find the
worries.
charge.
And again, like I'm not even
I
judging
actually
the
bought it just for
situation.
this interview.
Like to even like just add to it, I'm not trying to cast judgment or say what's right or wrong. I'm just saying on the idea of equality, this is an underreported thing as I understand it that nobody really talks about. And even to that end, like just shit that people aren't aware of. Like, do you know what the age of consent in Quebec is? It's fucking 16.
I thought
It's
it was
still
14.
16. It changed in 2008. I remember that because I was in CEGEP, and then I've looked it up since because people didn't believe me. But in 2008, the age of consent changed from 14 to 16. So as much as people have ethical issues with things today and now, legally, apparently, I'm allowed to go and date a 16-year-old as long as I'm not in a position of power over her. I'm not advocating it. I'm saying this is what the law currently says, right? Like, I'm not interested in that. I have, like, I've reached that point where, like, a 20-year-old, I'm looking at them and I'm like, you look kind of young. When did that happen? When did I get that old that you look that young? Oh, man. Like, that's where I'm at with that shit. It's not, like, attractive to me. I'm stating that that's actually Quebec, the place we live's law. I mean, there are, like...
Our history, that's nothing. That's actually great. You know the history of Quebec, that's nothing.
These are just...
Like, that's nothing.
Anyway, I don't mean to like dwell on this too much.
They got prostitutes here. Like, that's literally what they did. They're like, here's some prostitutes, go make some babies, we're gonna give you some extra money, we need to populate. So I'm not really surprised that this is happening here.
Yo, that's like a real thing. That's how like we got populated back in the days of like the old days.
No, for like I'm dead 1,000%. You can check it out. Like, that's what they did. And also criminals. Like, you can go to jail or you can go to Quebec because it was really cold here. No one wanted to come here, but they wanted population. If you're going to take over a country, it's called, you need to assimilate, which means you need to go in there and just take over. Like, you just need to fucking take everything up. That's why religion was so like, it's nuts. Like, I loved history. Like, I actually still love history. So yeah, that's how Quebec was.
I just want to say, to me, this was a really cool tangent. I mean, I know it's like a big topic, but I think it's important for people to discuss topics like this, and I think it was okay. But we can go back into more like, Lorelai's story time. But I know, like, I want to hear about because we did talk about it before, but for everyone watching, let's go back to high school. Let's say you're finishing that up. You do your pageant thing.
Never go back to high school.
I mean, after the high school part is done, what happens in your life? Tell us about that period of your pre-music.
Okay, so I told you I did Miss. I graduated high school in 2005. So then I did Miss Canada 2007, and then like I told you last time, I can actually explain it better now because I listened to the interview and I know what I want to say. Like,
amazing.
I would just hop around to jobs because I would get bored. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is boring. I had a couple of jobs where I really, really loved them, But I was just hopping around for so long. And I actually had, like, I had the home base. So I had a company that I was working for that I was just like, every year I just could go back to them and do like 6 months, whatever, here and there. I was like more like a temp, but like everybody loved me there. But besides that, like, I was just like, I was trying to find like what I wanted to do. And actually, when I became an artist, I had just found a really good job. Oh my goodness. You can even see my lives from last year. I was so fucking happy. But then being an artist took over. But besides that, like, I was always just trying to find.
Yo, this is like a 8-year period of your life that you're like building into such a short amount.
Like 2018, that's like at least 10 years. Like, just trying to find like the right, like what makes me happy, what's gonna, because like I was content, and I could have stayed content forever. I could have, like, it would have been great. Like, I had a great boyfriend. Everything was going great, but there's something that was missing, and I was just searching for it my whole entire fucking life, man. And then I got into the studio with Sky, and then I think it's our third session together. I was just like, yo, like, that hole is so fucking filled, yo. Like, I don't have to fucking worry about, like,
I want to definitely get into the music part, but I think there's a lot of benefit in talking about that 11-year soul searching period.
Ugh.
Um,
I'm like, sorry.
I know it's maybe not your favorite period of life, but yo,
It's
like to
not.
be real, I
I
didn't
think
even.
it's who I am, but like I just like like I like the high school, I like the college, but like the whole you know what? Because it makes my mom upset. You know, my mom wanted me to just have a job and like climb the ladder, and I know I didn't make her happy in that way. So jumping around from job to job, like I don't like talk. I don't. It's crazy how it has that effect on me. But I don't like talk. I'm not proud of that. I'm
But
not
here's the
proud. But
thing. Like a lot of us actually went through what you just described, and that's why it's interesting to talk about, for me at least, because yo, my parents were very much go to school, get a job, and you know why? And I was talking about this with Don Dada last night. Okay, so this exact topic was explored with Don Dada, and it has to do with the fact that like our parents and stuff grew up with an information set that was very not driven by Google, right? So they just had the news and the government and things. We grew up in a very different world. And part of that is like, as an example of just how fucked up stats are, I found out in the Gucci Mane book that Atlanta, or wherever he
out of
was,
that.
yeah, you can. Atlanta was underreporting crime stats, as in people were calling the cops and they were just not registering it as stats in order to make sure that the Olympics could go down. So when you think about the fact that the stats our parents grew up on are in some ways falsified, you can understand that like the information they were fed was maybe of a more brainwashing variety. So they were fed this narrative. But the problem is that the truth is a university degree didn't guarantee us jobs that were amazing and great and like.
But back in
that
our parents' day, they did. Back in our
absolutely
parents' day,
did.
they did. It's
But
just
when we
different.
got there, listen, I'm at a company for 10 years and all love to my company. I would not change where I've been at and all love for them. But financially, I probably have taken a bigger hit than I want to admit by not changing companies, which is nuts to
Well,
think
that's
about.
okay. You can no longer like the new generation. You can no longer go up the ladder. You have to go. How do you call this like movement? You can no longer like in your company. You can't go up. You have to go to another company and go like this. That's
I
the only
got
way to go
blessed.
up.
I'm like the exception to
That's
that
like
rule. I went
so.
up.
I totally believe you on that. Like I read a whole
But
article on
in
how to move.
general, because I didn't actually change. So here's what happened. And I'm not saying this again, no disrespect to my company, but when you're in a company, the only way to really get a raise is promotions. Not your end of year shit. Your end of year shit's going to be kind of static. It's usually about 2.5%. It's the average salary in Canada. It's meant to deal with inflation. You'll also get a bonus. But the reality is you really get salary adjustments that count for shit when you get promoted to a new position with new responsibilities. That's when you get your 10, 20, 30K kind of raises in life. So the truth is when you
Lateral.
switch, yeah,
Sorry.
that's true. Lateral is how you move up. You have
But,
to
like,
kind of pivot.
The company that you're with. Are you serious?
Yeah, it's okay.
So
No
I don't know
worries.
why.
This is the Twitch experience. This is why people come for
Now
the raw.
I'm so nervous because like I'm using my iPad because like I think I can probably use my phone. Just like it's not the greatest camera, but like I was saying, so they were saying like if you're already in a company, they're gonna be like, okay, they're paying. Let's just say they're paying you 40 grand, and they want to advance you to like a new position. You're gonna be so happy that you want to that you're getting advanced that you're not gonna notice that if you go to another company, they're actually gonna pay you more because that position like it's more levels up than you think. But when you're in something, it's like so hard to see the outside. So that's why they say you need to like make lateral moves. So I mean like you do your time at like a company and then you just go to a better position. Like
no, the only thing I can tell you is I get about 35 paid days off a year, and that's the payoff for 10 years at a company. 35 paid days off a year is fire plus vacation, like the normal holidays. So I can
But are you Jewish?
Yeah. No, I just have 5 weeks for like being there for 10 years. Then I get 5 personal days.
Don't go anywhere. Don't like stay where you are. Do not leave.
See, that's what I'm saying. I just want people to know that there are things in life worth more than money to me in that regard. So that's part of why I stayed. Because when I actually got into salary was around when I hit my 5 years with the company. And then I got these extra vacation days. And I was like, wait a second. Yo, these people only have 2 weeks off the year.
That's like amazing.
And so
5 weeks
then they like changed our like, so our sick days evolved to personal days. So I am allowed to wake up, be in a bad mood, and not go to work. I'm allowed to just do that.
When I was working at my company, we had like 5 sick days, 5 personal days. I said no, I want all personal, and like because I had to do the Jewish holidays, but I didn't want to take a sick day for Jewish holidays, so I needed more personal. So I said, hey, like I need my 10 days to be personal, no questions asked. I'm not an asshole. I'm not gonna fucking like you know like take a day off out of nowhere, but I needed that because like personal is like I don't feel well, I can just not go in. So
I mean,
yeah,
I'm Jewish though. I think you asked that, but I've never really practiced. I grew up Christian, so for me it was like my mom's Jewish. I was snipped, so I have a Hebrew name,
no fucking idea, yo.
and so I'm a Jew in that regard. But then I grew up Christian, and then I didn't really care about it till I was in my 20s. I actually forgot in my teenage years, and my dad reminded me when I brought a girl home. He's like, "He's a Jew, you know," and I'm like, oh shit, I am a Jew. That's a real thing. Because like my mom changed her name. Like she went from Goldberg to Roy at that time. But my mom's a
Wait,
Goldberg.
you're Goldberg?
My
That's
mom's
amazing.
a Goldberg.
I love that show. First, I love that show.
And then I went to Israel when I was 26.
You did
Going
Birthright?
I did. Because I was working for the guy who was dating the girl who picked the people.
Yes, we spoke about this. Yes.
So then I went to Israel and I got to do the whole thing and it was fucking dope and shit. But yeah, so I didn't actually need days off for that. I just wanted days off because I'm a workaholic, so I need that time off. That's what it is. But I think it's interesting that because I know like maybe part of this is kind of like hard to talk about for whatever, but like just the idea that you had to take 11 years to figure out what you wanted to do. Do you know how many people I know that's not like that's such a common thing. That's not the abnormal. That's the normal.
No. You know what the normal is? Never finding out what you really want to do. We're so lucky to find our passion. I'm actually very blessed. As much as it was 11 years, I would give it all. Like some people live their whole life not knowing what their passion is, not knowing what love is, not knowing what. Like I'm blessed. As much as it took me 11 years, I'd do it again because I'm finding that inner peace that I needed. So.
All right, so
I feel normal is not finding what you're good at. Normal is living what society kind of wants you to be life. Like that's what normal is. Like me doing this, at my age, like somebody even messaged me, they're just like, I can't believe you're doing this. Like, wow. And I'm like, why do you say that? Like, well, you're so old. I'm like, what? Like, but they were giving me a compliment and they were trying to tell me like, I can't believe you're doing this at such an older age. And I was like, but so I know that I know that my age is a big deal. But it's just like so much fun having I love cooking before. Like I used to love cooking so much, and I still do, but I don't have that time to be creative anymore. But I thought like that was gonna be it. Like I'm gonna have kids, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna cook, and like I was good, I was content. And then I found fucking music, yo, and I was like mind blown. Like this is it. Everything changed. So I'm lucky.
How did you actually get there, right? Like let's say if we were to extract from Lorelai's story. Like, how do you get to the point where you're like, I'm going to actually choose to pursue music? Because, I actually empathize heavy. I started at 25. Maybe it's not as late, but it is still fucking late. I'm 33 now, and I absolutely have every intentions of releasing another 10 albums at least before I'm done. That minimum.
Like till I die, I'll be like in my deathbed, be like my bars, like #bars, my deathbed.
But that's it. It's like it's part of what I do now. So for me, that age part is also really interesting because we are in an era where you can just kind of at an older age start to pursue music seriously and actually build. Because you built a lot in the time and you know what people don't necessarily know? Jay-Z and DMX were both 27 when they really, really started to push. That's not.
First of all, I fell in love with DMX. Like I think it was like a month and a half ago when I saw his live. Like I saw like the verses. I fell in love with. I was like, yo, I love this. And he looks so healthy. But anyway, just like a side note.
You just discovered X?
Or like I saw him on the verses. Like, wow, this guy's not scary. This guy's like, he's like so. And Snoop, like who cannot be in a room with Snoop and not be cool? You know what I mean? But anyway.
Well, first of all, DMX is in my top 5. Just that's how much I love this guy. So like for me, it's like I'm like 12 years old and my dad has a DMX CD, Volume 3, and then there was X. And Party Up was a huge fucking tune. I don't care what anyone says. I love Party Up since I'm a fucking kid. So
like I
all
love
of
DMX.
my high school is memorizing DMX lyrics. That's like a huge part of my high school life.
There's like I don't know why. I think I had a mixtape or something back in the day and I was listening and it was a DMX song and you're gonna tell me which song it was, but he says, I'm not a nice person. What you really want, that song. And
that's
like,
What's My Name.
Like,
I can tell you, it's What's My Name. I'm not a nice person.
It's so dope. Like, I'm not a nice person. I'm like, all right, cool. No.
But I actually called myself HSR at first. I had to rechange it because there's a beat maker named HSR. It is what it is. Really? You got there first. Well, I wanted my own Spotify, so I renamed myself to Holden Stephan Roy.
Yeah.
But basically, I looked at it like DMX to me was the coolest shit ever when I was like 12 or 13. He was like my
I
favorite.
appreciate
And
him
then
as an artist,
then
and I
and
didn't
then
have the
part of
mind
it was
then,
the
but
action movie run
he
he
was.
did.
I would
So
love to
my
listen to him now because I would really appreciate him for real. But like, I know he
you
makes hits. I know he's in the
should.
club all the time.
Yo,
You listen to him now.
DMX had 5 #1 albums in 5 years, okay?
Huh? Who?
He had
Beyonce?
DMX
What?
had 5 #1 albums in 5 years. He did 2 in
Serious?
98, one in like
Wow.
99. In that era, like DMX was like so big. But as Jay is saying, you were more into UGK than DMX. And I couldn't tell you shit all about UGK. That's the
Shame on
truth of it.
you. Shame on you.
I mean, I
Everybody
know who
should.
they are. I know like a few of their tunes. I really like International Players Anthem Part 2. That song's a
Yeah,
banger.
the most commercial song they made. Yeah, no problem.
It is what it
Sorry.
is. I try to do my homework 'cause there's a huge like whole world of music out there. I love Southern rap. Don't even get me wrong. I love what they do. I just never
I
got
love
around to getting
the
into it.
vibe. Like, I went to Houston like for my 30th birthday. See, now you guys know I'm over 30. So for my 30th birthday, I went to Houston. I just went by myself for 10 days. My
That's
girlfriend lives in
amazing.
Dallas. She came down for the weekend. But like, I was there for 10 days. I was like, this is what, like, when I think music and I think expression, like as much as I think Avril and Billy, when I think like Houston rap, I'm just like, yo, they're putting themselves out there. And like, for me, it's like the code means something. Like, like not snitching and all that shit. Like, and they live it. Like, they fucking live it. It's not some fucking Tekashi 6ix9ine bullshit where people. No, they live that code. And for me, it's like I need to feel something like that. I need to feel like there's rules. And I went down there, and it's like I got to meet a really cool rapper there. I got to meet Killa Kalyan, which is my favorite, and we hung out at a what's it called, a hookah lounge. He's like, meet me at the hookah lounge. I'm like, hooker lounge? He's like, no, hookah. And my girlfriend's like, she's like, hookah with an like AH. I was like, hooker? But yeah,
That's amazing.
we actually ended up hanging out, and it was super fun, super fucking fun. Yo, Houston is like the shit. Like, oh my goodness, don't even get me started.
That's amazing though. No, for real. I'm a big fan of Houston because of K Reno. K Reno is one of my big interviews. He's a guy in Houston that people probably should know more about because he's like, Eminem level lyrical, but
Um,
like he's very
I feel
positive.
like I'm lyrical 10 years ago. I'm lyrical now. There's a big difference.
When I say lyrical, I mean the ability to use words in an impressive fucking way to compose poetry that is just out there and fucking insane to listen to. I like a talent tier where it's hard for me to say who I actually like
Our
listening to
genres
more.
are
See,
logic. Okay,
for me, it's
I feel
easy
like
to go Joyner and Logic are a tier down. Like that's easy for me to say. I don't actually enjoy their music that much. I feel like they're extremely good at what they do. I'm just not that into it. I'm not hating. I just don't think they're that good with poetry in the way that an Eminem is, with the way he uses
I
words.
think it's like I think Eminem is consistently a good lyricist. Where I feel like those other two artists, they're gonna put out an album, and the overall is like, hey, yeah, you had some really good lyricist songs, but like Eminem, like no matter how much you don't like a song, he's always bringing that like that emotion, that
So
vibe,
K
that raw.
Reno's last album came out in December. I
I
can't remember
I
what it's
I'm
called.
not listening to his new stuff. I can't.
No,
I
no, I'm
can't.
just talking about this guy K Reno. He dropped an album in December, and
Okay.
it made me feel better about life. I listened
Really?
to it and I felt because it's really smartly like it's got a story progression across each song, so it kind of carries a tune. It explores Black history, Black pain, and it kind of ties that into healing by the end of the album.
Okay.
And that's the type of shit that really attracted me to K Reno, where he did like 46 tracks across 4 albums that he released January 2019, and all 46 tracks were about something different. And that's when I
Okay.
said K Reno's a master at this shit in a way that a lot of people are not. Because to do
But I think that's like
46,
their own category though. I feel like people that are like that are super talented, but they're not people I need to think about competing with. You know what I mean? Like
not
they need their own
competition. He's
category. They're
just
just amazing.
got me
Like
really into Houston more because he's from Houston.
me, like I don't even know him, but like, I'm gonna obviously Google him when we're off this call. But I guess
He
that's like
actually, his
2005,
YouTube
2012. Like
channel,
that.
his
That's my
YouTube
shit.
channel validates a lot of what you're saying. When he talks about the Houston scene, when I see the love in the Houston scene, when I see how they interact with each other from his end of it, everything you're saying holds true in my opinion from what I've seen of the Houston scene.
It's ridiculous. It's like the love out there. Like I made a song about Houston, and I got love like from people that are like on levels that we're not even reaching here. You know what I mean? And it's just like they're just like, yo, like we love that you wrote about us. Like that's just like they appreciate And it's like they're just, and I would say they're more real because like, you know, we all have our definitions of real, but it's just like they really get it, the struggle, the grind, like because that is so fucking hardcore. What they do with their like, you know, their creativity and their emotions, like it just means so much more to them. I find a certain way. So when I say like, yo, I shout out Houston, and I make a whole fucking song about it, they're like, what? And you're from Canada? Like, what the fuck? One guy's like, I'm gonna have to cross the seas to get to you. I'm like, there's no seas. Like, we're really next to each other, you know? But like, it's just that kind of vibe. Like, they're
Yo,
just
but
super
that's such an interesting knowledge nugget. In terms of just basic music marketing, let's tie that back into how that's actually a really smart tactic people can employ.
I have a good conversation about that actually.
But because one of the things I've noticed is some people are really into outreach marketing in different and creative ways. So I was talking to a few people who have done stuff like, yo, first I go to the city and I meet people, then I go and I bust out some open mics, and then I go back in full force and I put my fan base in first. So in a sense,
Right.
you admired this scene and you probably have some desire to integrate into it in some way or another. So you make a song, about it in appreciation of it. And that catches the attention of people there, maybe people who have significance, and they're like, yo, say what you want. This girl fucking likes Houston. She likes
Exactly.
us. She's
They're
a fan of
fucking
us.
they're just like, whoa, like they're just like, I can't believe you took your time to write about our city. Like, thank you. Like that's
That's
the
it.
kind of like how they feel. I'm like, sorry, I was just writing, you know, I write about all kinds of stuff. And me, it's like I don't like I love the love I'm getting, but at the same time, I'm just like, I'm just being natural. They're like, no, thank you. And it's like, okay, cool. Like I can be myself, I can do what I like. It's that kind of energy. Like they're just so down for it. I just in Montreal, I keep saying like if we work together, for sure, like someone's gonna fucking pop off like Drake. But
Well,
if we stay separated, we're never gonna pop off. Like it's not gonna happen,
people
guys.
are
Like,
people are coming together these days. I can
sorry.
say on the
Like,
subject of Montreal, there's a lot of negative energy that used to exist, and in certain Facebook post
it's getting
communities,
better.
in
But maybe I'm
certain,
making better friends. Like I don't know.
but it's where I was gonna kind of say it's algorithmically, I was associating and only looking at one pocket of the city. And I wasn't actually looking at the city. And this is where Facebook kind of hurt me a little bit. So for a long time, I'm sitting there with the same negative nillies being a
Yeah.
negative nilly for the
Oh,
longest time. Meanwhile, I wasn't learning about how Don Smooth was like the first black DJ to get a radio show and did a whole lot for hip hop. Meanwhile, I wasn't learning about how Preach-An Kobia was writing Walkley fucking anthems in 2006, or that fucking Shades of Culture opened for Backstreet Boys. I just, instead of like trying to learn about the great history of the city and trying to see all the amazing things happening, I was focusing on all this negative. But right now, what I'm seeing is
but see, I want to talk about Matt. You were focused on all the negative because that's all you could kind of see because you weren't like not like you weren't allowing, but like you just weren't. It's so rare to see that good. So like you get all this negative. That's what happened to me in my first year. You get all this negative, and you're just like, what the fuck? And you start acting in a certain way. As soon as you fucking clear that noise out, trust me, I've gotten so much like amazing like feedback just because I'm being like we talked about it. I'm not expressing myself so much online anymore. You know what I mean? And it's bringing so much more good vibes, you know, super fucking good
but
vibes.
it's huge. Like to me, it's huge. Like I had to change a lot of myself to achieve the goals where I'm at now.
Fuck yeah, man. If you look in the mirror and be like, there's nothing wrong with me, everybody sucks, like no, you suck. Like you need to look in the mirror and be like, gotta fix it. Like, you know, I had a lot of flaws. Like I had a lot of, and I still have them, you know, but I had to adjust a lot of shit to be an artist. Like that's why I say Keisha and Lorelai, because the way Keisha acts is not the way Lorelai fucking acts. You know what I mean? Like Keisha is like she's a doll. She's amazing and she's emotional. And I was portraying too much of that emotional chick online when I just need to be like an artist. I need to love what I do. I need to talk about music. I need to be involved in music. I actually deleted anybody that was on my Instagram that wasn't in music. I deleted them. I fucking deleted them. I'm like, my
I actually did a similar thing recently.
My Instagram for music, so I need to be distracted by anything else. I turn my Instagram for music. My Facebook a bit more complicated, but Instagram is fucking music. So if you're not doing music, get the fuck out of here. And not in a mean way. Just like I don't have time for it.
No,
I'm so mean. I don't mean to sound mean. It's just that I have a goal. Sorry.
No, I really appreciate what you're saying because, like I said, I was looking at my Instagram and I was looking at stuff and I'm like, I don't even know some of these people. Like, I don't even know who this person is. Why am I following them? And then I basically went through the list. I removed about 150 people. And if I don't know you, or you're not related to music in some way, I wasn't sure what the benefit was in terms of me having there. And then I realized after a couple of those people still follow me, and I said, oh shit, was that bad? Is that like a bad etiquette? Like, I don't even know the rules.
You know what happened to me? And I'm not gonna name names. I'm not like that. You know that, like, I don't like to name names. But
I don't want to name names either because we are live and can't edit this.
Exactly. Because I'm like, don't. It's so funny, you know that. So there's somebody in Montreal who's an artist, you know, and I was following them, and they like, you know, they're just like, they're not really consistent enough for me, like, to be like, wow, you're, you know, you're someone in music. So I unfollowed them, and they sent me a message like, hey, I know that you unfollowed me. I'm just like, oh, this is the weirdest shit. Because I didn't, like, honestly, I was kind of bitching out because I was like, wow, I didn't think they'd notice I unfollowed them, and now they're calling me out on it. Like, what the fuck do I do? And I had to be honest. I'm like, listen, like, right now, like, I'm really just trying to do music shit only, and I don't really feel like, you know, your energy is like that energy that I'm looking for. So that's the only reason why I'm like not following you. But then I looked at the messages.
You still with us? It's okay. It's the live.
No, I have like 5% left. I'm gonna switch to my phone. But I was like, I looked at the messages, and the last message I sent that person was like, "Hey, love your new single, fucking amazing, yada yada yada, like, yo, let's go." And they didn't even respond. But I unfollowed them, and they sent me that fucky shit. I was like, what? You know? And like, I really like this person, so I'm not gonna be like an asshole. But it made me kind of realize certain things, like, yo, like, choose your role models, choose people, like, be careful, man, because like, they may seem like they're really down, but at the end of the day, like, you send them a message saying you love their track, no response. You unfollow them, you're like, what? I would expect like a thank you from like the, hey, I love your track, and like, it's amazing, and I can't, you know, like, I mean,
I don't know, like, I don't even know what the right I don't know what the right answer to that is. Like, you know, thanks for the bid space.
I'm just saying a story,
but
and like
I think it's interesting,
and I really like them. I think they're awesome. But for me, it was a weird experience. So I was like, dude, as an artist, I'm fucking telling you you're dope, and you don't say nothing, but then I unfollow you out of like your 5,000, 6,000, and now you want to talk to me? And no, you should have talked to me before when I was complimenting you. And maybe if you would have talked to me, I would have not fucking deleted you. You know what I mean?
But that's like, again, interesting, because I'm not saying, like, it's not about right or wrong. Here's the truth about a situation like this. It has a lot to do with how you feel as a person and your experiences with it. And I think sometimes we don't understand how our actions are interpreted, like, in different ways. So like here, so like, I'm bad at humor, right? Like, so I'm terrible at these online jokes. Like, people make jokes online, and inherently I'm an asshole. So I don't assume the best in people, which is on me. It is what it is. So basically what ends up happening is I sometimes misinterpret people's jokes, and then they get really mad at me because I take their shit really, like, seriously. And so, like, I can kind of just relate to a lot of what this is, you know? Are you about to do your switcheroni?
I am the most misunderstood person on Facebook in our group of like 500 people, because I'm usually hilarious and like joking, but people take me as serious, and I'm just like, no, that was a joke. So people kind of think that I'm more like bitchy and more like mad than I am. But like, a lot of the shit you think I'm mad at is literally just a joke. Like, I'm just like having a blast, like laughing my ass off.
So I totally remember I was going with that. But at the end of the day, as much as we put a certain energy into the world, or we respond with people in a certain way, the truth of a situation really boils down to impact, not intent. That's how they kind of put it in cadets back in the day.
Intent, for sure.
Well, like, so, like, people may feel a certain way, right? And, like, whatever. But I think it's just important for people to consider that, like, you look at a moment, you may not think of anything by not responding to Lorelai's, like, message saying what's up. But that could be perceived a lot poorly if you don't actually take the time to say things. Because, yo, if somebody actually takes the 5 minutes to listen to your fucking song in 2020, that's a huge gift.
Thing is, I'm going to stop you on that, because I called that person out. I said, listen, like, it's really funny that you're messaging me now, because I just messaged you like how good that track was. And it's like, if they would have approached me like, hey, thanks so much for like liking my track, like, why are you deleting me? I'd have been like, totally different chick, yo. But you don't even acknowledge the message before, and just like kind of get mad, like, not get mad, but like kind of like question my unfollowing you. It's like, yo, acknowledge them. The message is there, and then I'm complimenting you. So at least say, yo, thanks. There was nothing like that. Nothing like that. It was straight like, why did you delete me? But like, not in a mad way. Like, not in like, they weren't like, why did you? They asked me politely, But like, how do you not acknowledge the fucking like love I just fucking gave you? Like, if you could clearly see it. So for me, I was like, yo, I can't really mess with that kind of energy. Because like, as much as you have, if I have something to say to you and it's mean, I'm gonna do my best, my fucking best, to make sure that it comes out the most like the best way possible. So if you've happened to write me before, I'm like, oh shucks, like thank you so much for like liking my song. By the way, why did you like, why are you deleting me? Like, And then we could have a conversation that's like super fucking organic and like natural. But if you're just gonna come at me and like ignore like, yo, I don't know. Is it ego? Is it what is it?
I think there's a lot of people out there that are bad at politics. Now, you happen to have a lot of experience in corporate America. Okay. Now, I've been working in corporate America for over 10 years of my life, and the one thing I learned was office politics, which is really similar to street code, weirdly enough. There's a lot of similarities.
That's what I'm saying. People don't get it. There's a huge link.
I listen to Griselda records about selling crack, and I hear the business advice that they're giving in their parables. Like, to me, it's like, yo, that's how you sell software. Yo, they're telling me how to sell software better. And I'm like, yo, let me take notes, Griselda. You fucking spitting some game right over here. So there's like a lot of, but in terms of how you deal with people, like a lot of people are very blue collar with their shit, but there's a white collar world now. In terms of like what a lot is happening here. We're in software land. We're doing software shit. All the money is
Silicon Valley.
So like if you want to deal with rich people, there's a different etiquette and like series of ways. Like the hardest part that kept me from getting promoted was how I talk to people. And basically as soon as I started talking to people different, they're like, okay, you're ready now, son. And I'm like,
yeah, no, it's definitely like there's definitely a way to talk to everybody. Like I deal with a lot of different artists and like we all have our issues, like, and I'm always super careful and I try to get to know them to a certain extent so I know how to speak to them. So I have one of my artists that I've worked with is like super fucking gangster and just has no time for jokes and like I'm all jokes, so like it's a really weird relationship we have. But I have to understand that like he just didn't grow up like me. He doesn't a joke to him is fucking his life, you know what I mean? Like so I have to kind of get that like his mind is not shaped as like the same way as mine is. So I totally get having to adapt to people, just like being in the business room, like in a conference room. Like you have to just, sometimes you have nothing in your hand and you got to pretend you have fucking everything in your hand. Like that's
for me, it's like I find myself having to remember a lot of the time that just because I have a lot of experience managing projects and dealing with complicated workflows and complex amount of details doesn't mean that everybody I know does, right? Like it's actually like a really fucking hard thing to do, right?
I forget that people are just not as experienced in life as me, and I have to stop myself because it's just not fair. I can't. I even about racism. Okay, so like if you're like over 60 and racist, I'm not going to be that angry because like I don't know your life and that's shit happened back then, like, and you were formed and you were like your brain is shaped. If you're 20 and racist, you need like go fuck yourself, you know what I mean? Like you have all the knowledge possible to not be that person, so you have to like kind of adapt to these different people, you know what I mean? Like you can't blame someone for following the rules that existed their whole life and then all of a sudden they change and you can't get mad at them. Like you hope they change and if not, whatever, but they're dead soon, who cares? The 20-year-olds, that's what we got to focus on. Like our generation, people who are still growing, people who are still able to think and shape their minds. I feel like after 35, like, you can't change.
They're adapting.
Like, I mean, like you already know what's on life.
I'm watching the older cats slowly start to open their eyes, but it's taken a lot of like, I think people like our generation challenging the older ones to do it. Like, I don't want to name names just in case Mans ever watches it, but there's a colleague of mine who I go back and forth with a lot, and we'll discuss stuff like statistics and this and that. And then as we go deeper and deeper into the conversations, over years, he's able to like acknowledge that it maybe isn't so much a race. In his mind, it evolved from being a race issue to a class issue. And as long as we call it a class issue, he's able to accept there are systemic problems against poor people. So I'm saying that's a huge evolution, okay? Yeah. We went from this shit's exaggerated to, okay, I don't want to acknowledge the race part, but at least we can tell that the system hates poor people. Because, I'm like, dog, I grew up on welfare, dog. I'm telling you, we didn't have the same fucking life, dudes.
I hate when you show people facts and it's just like you literally show them like the facts and just like no, I'm just gonna go with what you're like, okay, come on. If they're young, you're like, okay, come on. If they're old, you're like, whatever. I know what I'm talking about because it's good to understand that maybe the way you grew up isn't the right way. And my favorite expression is, just because you've been doing it, just because we've always done it this way, doesn't mean it's the right way. Like that's literally my life. Like just because we've been doing this same way for whatever amount of years doesn't mean it's right. It just means we've been doing it for that long. It's been working. It
Well,
means that
that's
there's
why I think like
better.
you know about the phases of industrialization, right? Where like factories came in and fucked up the whole world. It could be heavily argued that with COVID changing so much so drastically, we are officially undergoing the third phase of industrialization right now, where this new technological digital world is not going away. I'm not saying I'm right.
No,
I'm saying it
no,
can
it's
be
not going on
argued. And if
here.
you look at other stuff like VR and what's coming, there's this
You know
idea
what?
that
You're absolutely fucking right, bro. Like this is yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a new world. Like it's I'm sorry. I love technology. I'm scared of it, but I love it. It's
it's really
changing
cool.
everything. Like you have your fucking Fitbit that's gonna be like, yo, like you were here and there, and like I even mentioned on your post, I was like, they found so many murderers on my shows like with their Fitbits because like we didn't have that back in the day. Like it's just technology is taking over. We have self-driving cars. We have like what did the guy put a Tesla in space? Like we have all this crazy shit that just wasn't happening.
I want to
It's a,
put a
it's
car in
it's
space.
it's a new stage. It's I can't even I don't even want to know where we're gonna be. I'm scared of 10 years from now.
Oh, I'm not scared at
Like,
all.
what do you do in 10 years? I'm like, I don't even fucking know, yo.
Yo, it's check it. So I'll give you like what I think is coming. So we're on Twitch right now, and part of the reason I'm on Twitch is because I mean Spades is just flossing a little bit, but he's throwing pennies at me like we in a strip club. That's literally what's happening. All those I don't know if you can see the chat, but he's throwing pennies at me. That's literally what's happening right now in my chat. He's throwing pennies at me like we up in a strip club, and I'm getting pennies thrown at me. I fucking love it. That's all those little diamond things in the chats. But the fact is, Twitch has like this integrated culture where like you can subscribe and there's money attached to that, and you basically create this subscription model where you create a connection with your fans, right? And basically, what that means is, if you think about how software is being sold, it used to go from being licenses to an ongoing subscription that gives you an experience over time. You always have the newest software. You always get all the newest advances. You're always in that club. Now, if you think about the evolution of music, we're moving into an era where you can just cultivate 100, 200 paying fans and fucking like live off of that. Like, there's no reason you can't do
I have a lot
that.
of friends that are like, I've made a lot of good friends who are people maybe you never even heard of that are living off their music. Okay, they're fucking living off their music, and they're super popular in Australia, or they're really like good in like one genre. Like I know somebody who's a battle rapper, like legend, and like they're just living off of that. Like it's
That's
like
what I mean,
super.
though.
You just like that's what I say to people. I'm like, I don't need to be fucking Beyonce or Rihanna. Like I'm super chill being like, I was gonna say Nora Gray, but it's not that. Nora Jones. Like I'm super cool with that. Like I want the niche. Like I want people to actually love my music.
But
I don't want to be like one day I'm hot, one day I'm not because the radio didn't like me. I want people to like my music. Like it's super important to me. And there's money in that. You sell merch, you do your tours. There's people that only tour like once every 2 years and they're still like just and they songwrite. Like that's what I want to do. Like that's music to me.
yo,
I feel like that marketable Pepsi bottles is not that's not for me.
I love it. And I just wanted, before we talk about something you just triggered that we have to talk about, I just wanted to continue my little vision for the future because I think it's interesting. So with everything you just said, imagine, are you changing your phone? Is that what's happening?
No, I'm like I got my camera. Like, my camera on my laptop is like fucked, yo. But like my phone's gonna it's like 4%. But I also have to go pee.
All
and
right, so you know what I can do? I'm going to throw
we
up a
don't.
be right back screen. Patience, we switch devices. So,
Sorry.
yo, you look wonderful. I'm looking at you on the stream, and it's a lot smaller. It's not like the same as on a big blowing up situation, I promise.
Oh.
Everything's good. Everything is good. But yo, so anyway, with the idea of what you were saying there about making money and all the different avenues, like I was talking to Don Dada yesterday, and he was describing like virtual reality. So imagine this situation. Technologically speaking, they have to like make it all wait like 15, 20 minutes while they're doing their back end bullshit. So imagine during that time there's a store. And you are browsing through this store and you look to the left and it's Lorelai merch and Lorelai teddy bears and Lorelai this, Lorelai emojis. I mean, that's a fucking fascinating way to look at what the future of technology actually brings to the table in terms of opportunities for monetization. Then effectively, you just need to be able to get enough invested people to your space, this little place that you're going to create in this universe of internet that is going to transcend social media. So it's like, yo, you're absolutely touching into it. But yo, you were telling me the last time a little bit about this very creative alternate source of potential revenue in your life as a songwriter that
Yeah.
is different than focusing on being an artist. And I believe what you were telling me at that point, it was so interesting that it was harder to even focus on being an artist because of the level of opportunity it is provided for you. So why don't you talk to us about that part of your life and everything going on there?
I'm honestly not exactly sure what I said that would have
Oh,
sparked that, but I could just talk about songwriting because like maybe maybe that's what you're talking about.
it's
So
about like writing
I've
songs
actually been
for
really
others
lucky.
and stuff.
I've been super lucky when it comes to writing and being an artist. Like when it comes to my beats, like whenever I made a song, I'd always reach out to the beat maker, be like, "This is what I did. Like, how do you feel about it?" And out of like the 5 6 people I reached out to, I'm like super close with like 3 4 of them. And one of them actually, my songs are like it's so great. I get so emotional saying it because like my songs are being shopped to artists, like real
That's
artists, like not real artists, okay, mainstream artists are like hearing my music and they're saying like, "Hey, I don't want that song because obviously it's not bought yet, but like this in that room, it's at the table." So I'm making money like that. I do hooks sometimes. Um, I charge like for a hook, and it's a better. I would say it's a better way of making money, but it's a faster alternative way because it did really, especially during COVID, like no one's getting paid for shows, no one's doing that kind of stuff anymore. So as a songwriter, I'm really lucky because I don't really mind as long as the song gets out there. So I don't care if it's me that sings it, if it's somebody else. As long as the music's out there and it's healing the world, like I don't care. So I'm writing all day, every day. I got songs for days. I got bars for days.
okay. So tell us a bit more about like how you got into like going from I'm just writing for Lorelai to oh shit, I can have my songs being shopped
Right?
around to big
So
names.
weird. Um, what's funny is that like I always say like I wanted to be a rapper when I first started and all this craziness, but like honestly I wanted to be a songwriter. And it took people to encourage me like, no, these are your words, you need to sing them out loud. You need to be the one that delivers this. And then I slowly became an artist, but I always wanted to be a songwriter. So I've always taken that approach when it comes to dealing with beat makers and people. And it's just I can't even say like it happened at the same time. At the same time I was promoting my music, people were trying to buy it. So I kind of fell into that, and then I fell into the right people. And like one of my friends is like signed to Universal, and it's just kind of how it happened. And then I met someone here in Montreal who like, works with people in LA, and yeah, they just they like the vibe because it's radio, But what makes money nowadays is radio music. So we touch back on that, making
No, but
radio
what's
music.
interesting in what you said there, and it actually, again, I don't mean to keep going back to Don Dada. It's
Okay,
just that
I
shit was
hope so.
happening like
Sorry,
yesterday
guys.
for me. But what he was saying is he put out a beat packs all year, and he
Yeah, I
literally
get beat
told,
packs. Oh, I love them. Sorry.
but like he told all the artists out there, listen, steal my music, release your songs. If you put it a remix, I'll approve it. He's like, just
Who
do
did this?
it.
Sorry, I missed
Don
it.
Dada.
Okay, okay, let's try to stop it.
And that guy has some very good beats. So he's like, literally, if you want to take my beat, you see the name on Spotify, call it a remix, put it through your Spotify. I get a rev share. I'm okay
Yeah,
with
of
that.
course.
I'll approve it. But I guess what was interesting was in your story was that you said I always reached out to the beat maker and I contacted them and asked them if they were cool with that, which in your life then turned into a bigger opportunity to be able to have it. Like when she says shop songs around, what she means is she's
I'm
that
sorry.
person that gets a whole bunch of beats and then she writes a bunch of songs and then that literally gets passed around to like famous fucking people.
I
Like
know,
when
it's so crazy. I can't believe it's.
like Kelly Clarkson, I think, sold Rihanna Umbrella as an example. Like that's the kind of shit we're talking about. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure.
I don't know the umbrella. I know the SOS story. I don't know the umbrella story, but I know that that was her big. That's what catapulted her. But I know SOS was supposed to be Christina's. Yeah. So I'm super. I
Okay,
didn't
look,
know it
I
was Kelly
might be wrong
Clarkson.
about the specifics about that, but I know that Kelly Clarkson has written some banging tunes. Sia, as an
Yeah.
example, wrote a lot of banging
Yeah.
tunes. And I don't just mean for
Yeah.
themselves. I mean like
Like she is a
for
goddess.
other
Let's not even
people.
get into that. She's unhuman. She is incredible.
She, at the very least, understood like 2014 to 2018 pop music better than most people.
She made a whole album. It was called "This Is Acting," and it was all the songs that were rejected from other artists. That she's like, I'm gonna write a Rihanna song. So that fucking song, with Sean Paul. She had a song with Sean Paul. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, it's
But that was for Rihanna.
that's one of
And
my
Rihanna's
favorite
like, no,
songs
no. The
actually
team was like,
of
no, no,
her.
we don't want it, whatever. It became a fucking #1 for her. So like, yo, suck my dick, Rihanna. Kind of thing. Like, Rihanna's a god, you know? But Sia was just like, sorry, it was #1 hit and I gave it to you and you said no. But it's like Pharrell and Happy. Happy was written for fucking CeeLo Green. And he was like, no. And Pharrell was like, okay, he did it. Fucking song of like what? Like the year? Like the century?
It is a pretty huge song.
Writing is so important. Writing, and that's why I say like it's different. Like we talked about internet technology. Like 15 years ago when I was listening to the radio and I was hearing like Britney Spears or whatever, I was like, oh my God, Britney wrote such an amazing song. I had no way to get the knowledge that she didn't write a song, and the label's not going to push that she didn't write that. They want her to be the artist or whatever. So now we're in a generation where I can fucking Wikipedia any song and find out who wrote it, where the credits at. That's where songwriters are having their power now. And like the thing is, the Grammys don't even have Songwriter of the Year. They don't have Songwriter of the Year. The Junos do. The fucking Junos do. But the Grammys don't. And we need to have more, more accolades to work up to, because we're being ignored, and it's not the time to be ignored anymore. Before, when people didn't have the knowledge and didn't have Google, okay, no problem. But now we know who's writing people's songs. We know Britney don't write shit. You know what I mean? Like, so
it's so interesting that you say that, because I have this theory where over the next decade, producers are about to snatch that throne. As in, it's going to become producer tapes featuring a highlight of rappers that become the classics more than the shit the rappers put out, is my theory. I might be wrong.
We see that with house music nowadays. We see that with Tiesto. We see that with David Guetta. We see that with fucking Calvin Harris. It's all their beats and their idea, but a fucking girl or a fucking group of people like making that beat popular. And it's never like one artist. It's like, we have like Nicki Minaj on one. We have Rihanna on one. We have fucking Sia on one. Like, for sure, it's a beat maker and a songwriter's world right now. And
just at the same point, because I was wondering, like, imagine you did something like, just hypothetically, you start a Twitch channel, you start going live with these tracks, and you start writing these tunes live on Twitch. Hypothetically, at this point, it's not like anybody owns that shit, so it's not like a huge issue, and shit only stays on Twitch for a month, so you can easily delete it after, right? So like, this is gonna we're gonna have it on YouTube after. Like, we're gonna make sure it's permanently put up.
But now I don't like my camera on my laptop is so messed up.
I know it's, but listen, that's why. But everyone is like understanding. It's not exactly
really?
Because it's these times. Look, if this was like perfect world times of 2019, where like everyone had higher expectations for shit, it's all good. But yo, we're sitting here on New Year's Eve. Shit's not open. It's red zone fucking COVID times. We're not even literally allowed to go anywhere or do anything or buy anything. I saw your post about buying stuff, and you were real mad about mittens or whatever.
All that heat I got from that one person. Whoa, whoa.
But like, what I'm saying is, with that in mind, I don't think people are gonna be sitting there going, "Oh man, the camera isn't fucking perfect." Like,
I would.
My camera is supposed to be like looking aight, but your camera is allowed to not look as aight. You also started with a bigger camera. We tried to troubleshoot it together as a team, and now we're here. We're keeping it alive. Everyone gets it. It's all good.
I'm gonna fix it. Like, I can't. I'm just not gonna stay. I'm thinking in my head, how do we fix it? So
sometimes we are bound by because it's a pixelation issue you're facing on your webcam camera. I'm not.
I feel like it's a fucking, because you know what I do? I was telling you, I tape my camera. It's a fucking Black Mirror, yo. I'm not like that.
Tell us about that. Tell us about what happened there, because that's some genuine concerns other people probably felt. I'm curious.
I don't know, man. Like, that guy, it was called, I think it's like Dance Again or something, the episode, and he gets caught on he gets a virus, and then his camera goes on, and then it records him doing some like fucked up shit, and then they threaten to use that against him. I'm not afraid of all that, but like, I just don't want my if they could like hack a camera that easily, I'm just not trying to. I walk around naked in my room sometimes. Like, I'm not trying to put it on the internet, so I just tape my camera. So I feel like the tape, like the glue, is like, it fucked up the lens, and that's what's going on.
That's totally
cool. Be honest, I'm keeping it real.
But yo, in that, on an internet security tip, you're actually spitting some facts. Like, people can hack your camera. Like, I'm just kind of, I don't care a lot, because it's not my bedroom. I'm not actually naked in here a lot. It is what it is. But like, yeah, it's actually a real thing to be concerned about. People do that. I mean, I play it like there's a lot of people on Earth. The statistical probability of me getting clipped is pretty fucking low, but it is a real thing that really does happen that people should be concerned about. So it's not unnatural, and it's totally cool. Honestly though, it is what it is. Sometimes the tech fails us, and we just gotta roll with it. But like, it's still crazy to me that you're able to be in a position. I remember the last time you were here, you were talking about how literally you had a beat pack of like 40 beats that you were gonna run through, go to Sky Beats' crib, and you were like the only person that got to go to Sky because he was open for like a day, and then it was like fucking closed again. So
I
like
know,
in the whole
I
world
know.
of
The
Montreal,
love I felt, I was like, yo, this guy loves me the same way I love him. Yes, you know? And then like, when I went there, I said, it's funny because we have like the same doctor, right? Like just by chance, like just fucking by chance, we have the same like GP. And I said to him, I'm like, I'm gonna make our doctor prescribe you as my fucking antidepressant. Like, I don't take antidepressants, but he's always trying to give me them. You know, you're depressed. Here's some meds. I'm like, no, prescribe me Sky. You know, like, it's less expensive than antidepressants per month. You know what I mean? Like, just send me there, like, 4 hours a month, and I promise you, I will not be depressed. Like, I swear, he's like everything. Like, I don't know, man. I went there and I was there for 2 hours. It's just like my 2020 was worth it. Like, I love being in that environment. I love being with him. I love creating. I always say, like, our talents, like, they make love.
I love Sky's talent and the energy he provides, but what I was trying to, like, I guess emphasize is what you were actually doing there. You weren't writing your own music per se. You were recording.
Oh no, you're talking about Merker. You're talking about Merker.
Oh, was it Merker?
I went to Merker to do that. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I got confused, but I do know that you went to Sky at one point, and you were like, because I saw it in the
people
story.
Were pissed. I did a live. People were like, "What?" He said their face. I wasn't open. I was like, "Oh shit, mother." He didn't even say anything to me, but people came up to me like, "Yo, I thought he was closed," and I was like, "Yeah, he is closed." I just went there like, I didn't want to like. Live's already up.
I guess, it was Merker you had gone to at that
Merker.
point. But tell us about that beat pack thing, what you were actually doing. Because I just want people to know, like, in more, like, I might be redundant to you, but I think people don't even know these are options available to them, which is why it's worth sharing.
Well, you know what? I didn't know either, so I happened to meet somebody who's super chill, who's on the NTL scene, and, he has connection. He's like I would say he's an agent, but, like, he's a manager of some artists here, and, I made connection with him, and he sent me a beat pack. And he's just like, see what you can do. Because he heard 21 Grams. He said, like, like, that's like I like it for you. Like, that's a really good you album. But, like, I want to hear, like, what you can do as a songwriter. And it's funny because I took emotions and and feelings that I would never want to express as Lorelai, but they're in there. I got to, like, actually, like, write songs that, like, I never want released under my brand for this person. And, like, I wouldn't say for this person to show other artists. And it was R&B, so it was like, it was very challenging and really fun. And I went to Merck, and I didn't tell him who it was, and because, like, people know who this person is, so I didn't tell him who it was. And we just worked on it, and so I'm just thinking about it because it was such a fun experience. Because I did some tracks that, like, I swear, if I were to release them, I'm just like, I got to express myself, and things it's an opportunity. So I do it on a beat, and then it just gets shopped around. Like, what happens is you do a song on a beat, and they send it out. They send it to labels. They send it to this. So they're gonna be like, oh, we want example, like a Rihanna style song. It's not gonna be for Rihanna. It's gonna be for the people under her that are kind of doing that same, like, vibe, like the umbrella, like Rihanna's the umbrella, and then we have, like, the other people underneath her. So I was writing for people like that. It was really cool.
But what's cool about that, in just a knowledge nugget kind of sense, is you're practicing. One of the more interesting characters in this city to me is Travis Bryant, and when I talked to him, he told me how in the morning he has, like, writing exercises where he tries to bang out, like, 6 tracks. Whether he uses them or not is not the point. He's just always writing like that, which allows him to become he's always writing. He writes every fucking day.
Really?
Yeah, like, for real. He has a catalog, like, these, whatever his release schedule is, I don't know. But that guy wakes up in the morning and does writing exercises. Like, actually really inspired
I'll be honest with you, because I hate being like this. I'm not really happy with this person in general. He said some comments on some shit one day. I wasn't feeling it. So, like, when you're talking about it, I'm just like, okay, like, I want to listen and I want to be happy, but, like, at the same time, I'm like,
no, that's fair enough.
I'm like, fuck this.
He has a very vibrant.
To me, you know what I mean? Like, I can't do with that.
He's a very vibrant personality.
He's talented. I think he's talented.
It's more, but we
nice
can
person.
still learn from the fact that,
of course,
he's able to bang that out, and there's that commonality between you, regardless to whatever.
I just wanted to explain to the people watching my face, because, like, you can tell. I just wanted to explain to them, like, listen, I have to tell, I have to be real.
Not everyone has to like everybody out there in the world.
Of course not. And, like, comment on a post is like, 8 months ago that meant something. You know, I'm
Everybody's
just saying, like,
lives are
that's why
moved.
I just wanted to explain why my face went like all weird and shit. Because like
Listen,
I don't want to seem unreal people.
I have to say he's been very helpful to my life, and I have a lot of respect for
Oh, I
him.
saw
And
that. I
otherwise, I
definitely saw
wouldn't
that. And Don Dada, I know
disrespect
he's
him.
working with him, so I knew when I saw him interview with you maybe a couple weeks ago, and then Don Dada, I knew they were working together at some point, so I knew
Yeah,
there was a
there was a
relationship there.
correlation because basically Travis Bryant made Don Dada sound super cool. And then I basically was like, yeah, I got to talk to
Dope,
Don Dada. But then
dope,
I
dope.
know, like, like, it's cool. Like, I'm sure Travis could have blocked that if he didn't want to, Like, I'm sure he could have done something. But instead, nah, I went live and he was mad supportive. Travis has been sharing my shit. 9 months ago, it's a different world. We've all kind of
Okay,
evolved,
well,
is what I'm
I'll be
saying.
honest with you because I want to clear it up so people don't think I'm some kind of bitch. I did a show and I actually hosted a show for just women, like you the one the one that you were at actually, the one where actually I met you for the first time, and he did a post afterwards, and he was just like the only people that were real that were there was like Talia and like some other person. But like, I'm not even trying to fight for myself. There was a girl named Audrey that was there, and like Audrey's like signed to a major label now, had a bodyguard with her. And I was like, how fucking dare you fucking diss the people that came out and performed for free for a charity event? And like the way he commented just like made me not feel good. That's the only reason. Like
But again, like,
that's the
here's the
honest
thing.
truth.
I can
That's
say
the like.
having
There's
taught.
nothing
So
else but that.
I met him twice since then, and all I can say is a lot of our vibes have changed this year. And it's a
That's
new
why I'm
year.
telling you it was 9 months ago and this was the situation.
And
So
that's
I don't want
cool.
people getting confused with
But
anything
here's
else. This is literally what it was, and that's why I have a feeling. But I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just saying like the
nah,
last time we
I
spoke
totally
wasn't
get
nice.
that. I'm
You know what I
saying
mean?
he's pretty fucking cool, and I respect what you're saying,
He's a
and
cool
everything you're
dude. I was
saying
speaking
is
to him
awesome.
forever. Like he's a cool fucking dude, yo. Like that's why I was so mad at that post. I was like, yo, I thought we were buddies. You know what I mean?
Nah,
So
here's
like
what the thing is every now and again, he'll like many of us, we see things on the
we
internet,
spaz.
and it triggers us, and we
Of
say
course.
whatever, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a moment.
I know. I'm guilty. Guilty.
So
Fuck,
that's
bro.
probably all it was, like literally.
That's why I'm making it known. Like I don't want people thinking that I have animosity or I have
Nah,
vendettas against
nobody's
people.
gonna
That's why I
think
said
that.
this is the issue. So if you want to come and talk to me,
If it
Travis, and make it
counts,
better, I'm all fucking ears, yo.
like, listen, I mean, I'm trying to have all love here. That's why I'm emphasizing, to me, the way I see it is we're talking about how people evolve too, right? That's a huge part of life.
Exactly. No, of course. I'm all about
Um,
that.
all I had to say was the practice in writing and being able to do something like that. But what you also said is really interesting was you were able to explore writing outside of your brand. I have a brand too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know that like my government name and my rap name are identical, but that doesn't mean that they're not separate entities in my mind with like, but at the same time it's like, yo, my mom's like watching and shit. Like, I actually had to go tell my mom, yo, I'm gonna have a song coming out and one of the lyrics is make that pussy spray, just so that you know it's coming ahead of time.
Well,
I'm
you
just
heard
writing
me at
it.
my show. I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm singing a song about sex." Sorry, mommy. Like my mom was
Yeah,
my
but
first
like
show that
it's
she's
like
ever at. You were there, and you heard me say that. It was
it's a
my
real
mom. I'm not gonna
thing,
try and
yo.
disrespect
Like,
her.
you just sit there and you're like, oh shit, yo, I'm putting
Yo,
this on the
that
internet, Mike. So I once had a line in a thing where I'm like, I'm a kinky fetishist, and then my colleague like kind of made fun of me at work a little bit. Oh, my
really?
girlfriend Bonnie remembers you saying that about your mom. She's co-signing that in the chat.
Exactly. Yes,
So yeah,
thank
like
you.
people, it gets weird sometimes when you think about your brand, but then you're actually giving yourself an opportunity to kind of create a whole other series of characters and worlds for yourself and to explore in like a sandbox kind of environment. Like, those sandbox video games where you do nothing but explore and experiment for the sake of it, like a Minecraft or something. Maybe not, it's fine. It's a term to like just say an environment where nobody else sees it. It's just your own world and you can do what you want without consequences. So in a sense, because you're detaching yourself and you're more of a reference, you're able to create this sandbox in a universe of music where, yo, you can be anybody and anything. You want to pull out Gats this time? You can pull out fucking Gats on this track because it's not Lorelai. It's whoever the fuck you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's a super
That's why I
interesting
rap.
thing.
That's why I rap. Like you've heard my raps, like my features. I have to be like I want to be angry sometimes. Like I want to be fucking angry, and I don't know how to express that in song yet. So I just rap. For me, it's like I get aggression like decent rap. So I totally fucking feel that for sure.
Um, Nah, fair enough. As far as like your career goes, I see you're still
Call it
releasing
that.
stuff. You just put out a track, right, on December 15th. What is your plans for like how are you going to adapt to this new COVID world? Like what are you seeing for the next year for yourself? Like how are you going to move forward now?
It's actually to my advantage. I'm very lucky because I kind of like being alone. I kind of like I'd rather do this kind of intro. Like I no exception being you because I really enjoyed hanging out with you and it was super fun. But I'm so much more comfortable in my own environment. Like I'm super comfy. My camera sucks right now, but like I'm laid back. I'm relaxed. Like I can do this all day, every day. Put me on a stage, I start to like I just start to get all nervous and the butterflies and like, am I doing this right? So for me,
Yeah.
like COVID's great because I can stay home and fucking do my brand from home, which is like the most comfy, safest place I could ever fucking be. You
Do
know?
you you did an online charity thing recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's called Hip Hop Food Drive. Is actually somebody from Ottawa that invited me to go on, and it's 6 different cities. Usually they go into every single city and they do live shows. But this year is COVID, so we did it online. And I was so fucking honored to be part of that because I'm performing and like perhaps me performing is gonna make like a homeless person eat that night. Like what the fuck? Like I have that fucking power by just me doing a set for 15 minutes. Someone's not gonna be hungry one night. Yo,
Yeah,
how can
it's
I not be
fire.
involved in that? How can I fucking not be involved in that?
So you
Sorry.
performed online from your room?
No, I performed. See, I got super bougie. I performed online from like where I used to go and practice my sets because I go once a week when I would be live performing once a week to there's a place in Verdun and there's a place near my old work and just like a room with like speakers and like I guess like a you just where you practice your set. You know, it's a live studio kind of place and I just did it there. I didn't get the room I wanted, which sucks, but I did it there. I rented a room for like 2 hours. Me and my managers went there and we just recorded. So I'm not super comfortable in my room yet. Like I just feel like that's a lot personal. I feel like that's gonna that's gonna come natural. Like that's gonna come eventually. Sorry, not naturally. Now it's like you don't really see much. You see the mirror, whatever. But like to show my whole like who I am and like how my walls are decorated, it's a big deal. So I decided to go public. I decided to go to a commercial space.
Yeah, I got a question, if you don't mind. How expensive is one of these rooms?
Oh, for depends. Okay, so when I go by because I'm by myself all the time. So when I go by myself, I'm paying $10 flat an hour, which is fucking nothing. It's nothing. $10 flat an hour for me by myself. Because of my two managers, I have to pay like the regular price. So it was like 30, 40 bucks to 30 to 40 bucks an hour. But like we're talking like there's the room I wanted like is huge. There's like enough for to have a whole bed in there. There's a couch. It's like super like crazy. We didn't get that one because it was already taken. But there's other rooms with couches and stuff like that. And yeah, it's like so 40 like between like 25 and 40 regular price. But if you say you're a solo person and you call them the day of, it's like $10 an hour.
So in theory, what you can do there is set up your device that's going to stream or
Yeah.
whatever. And do they have like the kind of gear that would be like a mixer of some kind that would let you control the sound or?
So there's different rooms, like different rooms have different things. But like we're talking about rehearsal rooms, you know?
Yeah.
So they don't have like some of them have like if I wanted to record my audio, whatever, they have all that like jazz. But mostly it's just to rehearse. The space. Like you want to like your dress rehearsal for your show kind of thing. You want to make sure your vocals are on point. So you go there.
But like, so let's say you're spitting, then your mic, like let's say, because you put up a camera then, right? And you're in this jam room. How are you like actually delivering it? Is it just like you went live on your phone or whatever, and then the sound in the room was just tight?
Okay, you want the honest truth?
Yeah.
Yo, it was like it was a shit fest. Okay, so the camera was just like not enough quality to need to be. My vocals for some reason they were just like lagged. So like I was performing, but my vocals like it didn't look like I was singing. It was like the worst fucking situation ever. But thank goodness the guy running the event, he messaged me. He's like, "Yo, like, do you want to send me your tracks?" So unfortunately, my tracks were playing and I wasn't doing live because it was a choice between like me doing live and like being off in my lips or me having my tracks play and my lips matching. So I had to like pick, the tracks and the lips because like
No,
that's so
that's
fucking weird, yo. Like
so actually like I
it was
relate
actually
heavy to
it was a
that.
catastrophe, but I enjoyed it. It was my first time with my managers. We had a great time, got to know each other, and it was for charity at the end of the day, and I had a blast. And people actually complimented me on my set, but I know it could have been better, and I know all the fucking issues that happened.
Yo, but
But
like,
like it was the worst.
So like the thing is that you're encountering like some really normal shit. Like I've been trying to solve this what I'm calling the latency issue. That's what you encounter. That's a
Yeah, but I
latency
didn't even know
issue.
that existed. I didn't even know that was going to be a problem. I was
You
not
really
prepared for
did.
that. I was like, why are
Yo,
my lips not moving to my song?
yo,
I'm
so
singing.
I had Willie Scandals over here for our interview and we had just advertised it was gonna go live. Live interview coming and we were gonna try and do that. And then what happened was it was really off with the fucking voice and everything. Like the lips were off and it looked like shit. And I'm like, we can't go live, I'm sorry. And then we
I
couldn't do it
know.
live. So I started looking into that. It's called latency. You have to learn how to control your latency. That is
I'm like,
basically
hold on. I'm literally writing that shit down, yo. Like, I can't even deal. Latency. Is that like with the T?
latency. So basically, what happens is the different things like your video and your audio and stuff are captured at different rates. So like
Okay.
bits per whatever. I don't know the actual term. And video is going to have a bigger amount of data processed. Audio goes quicker, blah, 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 blah. So what you got to do is add a correction. So you add a little delay to your sources and it syncs everything up properly. It's basically like you're just correcting the sync like that.
That
So when
makes
I use
sense.
OBS, I have that shit set up and I tested it and I could rap on beat. But check it. On Zoom, it's not like that. So I'm doing my fucking live tracks and I'm the kind of guy that spits my shit. But then I also have my backlibs, but then I also have my chorus. So for my verses, things are sounding okay. And then you get to my choruses and oh my fucking gosh, it's just like a doubled over, almost like it just sounds like shit. So many of them. Everything sounds off. Everything sounds like I'm not rapping right. And maybe it sounds okay to other people, but this is just the fucking challenge that we're all facing. So currently, just to go back to your credit, we started making choices like, yo, do I try to do the chorus? Nah, the chorus is there. Shut up, Holden. Let the chorus play. And you know what? It sounded better to everybody on the Zoom. Is it less like flashy? I'm not doing my chorus. In
Exactly.
my heart and soul, I feel like it's a worse performance. But honestly, it sounds like shit when I try to rap my chorus over that double. And I tested it out, and somebody was like, "Yo, that was a good move, not rapping over your double. It sounded
Exactly.
nice."
You have sometimes your own ego, like, but like not ego, like you're like, I always want to be the best artist I can be. So like, I'm gonna look like I'm lip syncing. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's not what I do. But I had to make that decision because that was the best thing out of the two options I had, you know. And it's like it sucks because like it's like a hard pill to swallow because like that's not what I do. Like I sing live every single fucking time, but like it just wasn't working. So I had to make the decision to be like, Kate, yo, play the track in the background. And
But
I
like,
fucking get that, yo.
and you
It
know
sucks.
what?
Like you have to, as an artist, you just have to do what's best for you, no matter how much you feel like you could have done better or whatever. You know what I mean?
And I like that about you. Something you wanted me to bring up in particular was this
Oh yeah,
moment we captured more organically on
I
the
love it.
first interview. We can maybe release a clip of that down the future so you can see
Yeah,
that like
I
shit.
was shocked because you spoke to me for like an hour and a half, and then you throw this gem out of nowhere in the interview. I was like, what? You hit me out of nowhere.
So I'm at the live show, right? And it actually was a lot of Lorelai put this idea of women into my mind, women in hip hop. I saw her do a post previous to like there was two back-to-back all ladies shows that happened, and I saw her do a post like men never show up to shows, and I'm like, okay, maybe. And then I'm sitting there, and at this time, I would have been watching shit like State of the Culture, where Scotty Beam is like, black women in hip hop matter. So I started trying to do like reviews of black women, and they don't get clicked on as much. I can tell you that much. Like,
They
there might be
don't.
some
They don't.
dated.
It's okay. I understand. They don't.
I still do them when I still like, Jean Grey is one of the illest MCs out there. There's quite a few ladies out there that I think are fucking fire. Like Rhapsody's ridiculous. There's so many people I think are
Yes.
dope. So like
I just
I'm all
found
in
her. I
that. But
literally
then
just found her.
I
She's dope.
realized a bit like, I don't actually know shit all about the women in Montreal. That's not great, eh? So I went to the show or whatever because of your post, and then your show was the other show. It wasn't the first one I went to. Your show was like the second one I went to, like the weekend after. So I went to that and I saw about like 18 ladies perform with immaculate talent in the city. Because the one thing I can tell
I
you,
helped pick those ladies. Like this all happened because I made a post saying where are all the female talent. Some guy connected with me. We threw a show. He did most of the work, but I helped get like the sponsors. I helped get some like talent booked. And I decided like Tatum Quinn, who's like super rock and you would never see in the hip hop scene, like I fucking booked her. Like it was so important to see some women. Sorry, I had to say that because like I'm so proud of just like finding the women in Montreal because no one else seems to know where they are. Me, I come on the scene a year and I could find them. but people have been on the scene for 10 years. There's no women. Like, what the fuck, bro? Sorry.
No, it is what it is. That and something Boucher, something lady, the promoter lady is really doing.
Oh yeah, because we had CBC Radio there. We had like, it was legit. Like, the guy that ran it was fucking legit as fuck. We had like food for the artists. Like, I have never seen that ever. Like, in any other show. Like, I've never been fed like ever, besides that one show. So it was on point. Like, we had radios, we had podcasts there. It was crazy. We had a lot of support.
There's this, just to give flowers where it's due, there's this one lady in Montreal. I just checked her on Facebook to make sure I said it right. Andre-Anne Bohemier, and she's doing huge shit for women right now.
She's fan de rap, right?
Yes, that's what it says here.
Honestly, everybody, that is a fucking OG motherfucker. I love her so much. You don't even understand what she's doing. She's like slowly just trying to just make our scene hype. Like, she invited me to fan de rap, like, out of nowhere. She found my song, started talking about it. Like, she's keeping it real, and I super respect her. Anything I can do to help, I honestly, guys, like, she is somebody to watch out for. She has like three or four different kind of sources of media just for Montreal. Like, who cares that much? She does. Like, so.
And like, I saw her post this thing recently where she had like 50 female MCs that she was hyping up that were local. And I was like, yo, this, like, because, just to say on the question of people doing shit.
I didn't make that list.
Yo, what up, Critical? She is hype. She really is doing huge things. Like, if anything.
She's a huge supporter. Oh, my goodness. It's so great when you meet people like that. Like, I just want to make people know, like, she's not taking money from people. She's doing it because she fucking loves it. And she wants to see our scene succeed. And those are the kind of people you want to align yourself with. She's dope.
Big facts. No, I mean, she's wonderful. I've I talked to her in real life. I've seen what she's posted around, and she's really out there. Shout out Lemeth for being here too. Yo, big ups to everybody being here on New Year's Eve. Can we just give them all a fucking like little round of applause for being here on fucking New Year's Eve? Because that's amazing. I'm telling you, this is the last interview of 2020, so that's fucking big times for me at least. So that's cool. No, that's really like. Yeah, I'm impressed by you. I'm just gonna say that. Like, you've grown a whole bunch. I'm not even gonna lie in the last while. Like, I'm just gonna say that flat out. No, but like,
you have to decide: do you want it or you not want it? That's the decision. Do you want this or do you not? And if you want it, you need to adapt your life to make you get what you want. Point final.
But it's cool that you were willing to even do a live show. And then I think, just to your credit, a good knowledge nugget is don't be egotistical. Don't sound like shit. If you have no choice but to, let's say, lip sync to your tracks because it is what it is, yo, listen, man, people are going to remember you on the internet in a way that is not the same in a live listen, you can fuck up in a live performance at a bar. You can fuck that shit up.
Exactly.
No, it's okay.
In a week, but like, it's on the internet for fucking ever, yo.
But yo, back to that performance you were at, because let's rehash that moment. So I'm walking in and I'm with my girlfriend, and I know who Lorelai is at this point, because at this time she's going fucking live on Facebook every day, going to everybody's shows, and I have to give her a lot of credit for this, because at this time in my life I was being lectured a little bit by guys like Urban Logics, who is now Don Lennon, and he's like, yo, bro, Fat Joe and shit got love, and you would go to people's shows, and going to shows is fucking important. And so I saw Lorelai was constantly going to people's shows, and I was like, all right, fair, I'm gonna make sure I go out of my way to go to her show and just kind of like check that shit out. Fair enough. So I went to the show, and then Lorelai's with her friends, and she's all in diva mode. No offense, you're just like whatever, you're like literally like that a little bit. And I was listening to her because it was really interesting. We're talking like she's in the corner doing her thing with her girls, and I'm being the guy standing close by eavesdropping. Is this a little creepy from an optics perspective? It is what it is. It's just the life that we live in. But I was listening because I was so fascinated. Lorelai was in the room scanning the crowd, evaluating her set in real time, thinking about what songs to play in what order, whether or not she should play over tracks, like rap over a full complete song, do an acapella, mix this shit up, like literally, like she was like, mix this shit up a little bit, like maybe I should do an acapella to prove I can do this, and then I'm gonna make it go like this because I don't think I can do it like that, and I'm gonna make it happen like this. And you could see like she was in the room scanning the fucking crowd, looking at the vibe of all the vibey things and deciding what was realistic, attainable, or possible to give herself the best performance that she could deliver with the tools at her disposal. And she didn't know I was there doing this, but I knew I was going to interview her. So, like, I was
No
worth it,
idea.
yo. I don't know how Nardwar really does his thing, but he's got people.
That's how he does it. He's like hides in the background and listens to people do their thing.
It's got to
like,
be it.
Even like the details you're giving me now, like, are so much more detailed than last time because you was very quick. Like, I heard you trying to plan your set, and like I can't. Like now that I'm like, wow, like I really do that. And I was actually explaining to someone yesterday. It's like I always give my set ahead of time, and I always have it on my USB. Like those are I send it, and I also have it just in case the guy's gonna, some things.
I'm not comparing myself to Nardwar. I was saying Nardwar. Sorry, that's in response to it. Nardwar is more like the hero who I want to be like. Because, like, the guy is so top-notch that I sit there and go, how the fuck does Nardwar do his shit, okay?
You saw my hashtag, though, on the post, right? I said, like, hashtag Nardwar. You saw that? I hope you saw that.
That's fair. I'm just saying, in regards to Lemef in the comments, it's an interactive show a little bit. But I'm not trying to compare myself, but, yo, other people... it's kind of hard if you're now on this thing. But it's more like... The thing about Nardwar is, like, I grew up watching Nardwar. The dude's, like, much music and shit, right? Like, the dude is, like, a guy that's huge. I chain-watched so much of his shit. Part of why I want to give love to people is there's nothing more fascinating than watching the look on people's face when Nardwar busts out some random album from 1982 that nobody's fucking heard of. And I'm like, yo, what can I get? Can I be Nardwar? No. But maybe one day I can go out of there and like become that good. So like that's what I'm saying. Just because like I don't want to also be perceived like I'm arrogant or some shit. It's not what it is. I also study the shit out of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan does this a lot. This is what it is. He looks you right in the eye and he goes, "That's the most interesting thing ever." To literally everything. Like it doesn't matter what you're saying. Really? That's all Joe Rogan does.
I don't watch him, so
that's his whole move. But he basically looks at everybody like what they're saying is so hot, he wants to fuck them on the spot. And I'm like, yo, the impact it has on people is huge. So I tried to jack that from Joe Rogan. I like Joe Budden's abrasiveness. I like the fact that he goes places people don't want to go in a really weird, arrogant way. I don't know how much I want to be like Joe Budden, but he's worth watching because he's like really crushing shit, Like I love studying these people because I don't know, like this is like shit I cared about long before interviews was even in my life. I just fucking love Nardwar. Nardwar can talk to anybody and it's fucking.
The thing is, like, Nardwar is different because like we're talking much music. We're talking like this is like 1 out of 3 channels we could actually watch to see artists talk about themselves. So we get these much music interviews that are just like fucking like so like plastic and just so fake. And we get Nardwar. This comes out of fucking nowhere with the fucking they're just, and you see on the person's face like, yo, this is like real life. Where like everything else is kind of just like that generation. It was just kind of played out. It was kind of like rehearsed. And he just was like doing his own fucking thing with his fucking hand and shit. Like, I can't even feel.
Even like the fact that like Nardwar goes fucking deep with shit, right? It's not just like music.
He does. He
like he has
that. Like, you remember you were a baby? Like you're like, what? Like that's the kind of shit he does, It's like,
but, like you know that he goes up to all the political leaders and he has this little hip game he plays with them. We're talking from like the 90s and shit.
I didn't know that.
He has this. So he did it with, and I was so happy with fucking Jagmeet Singh because he did it with him during his like last thing. And Nardwar does this little hip game. So I'm saying to this day, Nardwar makes sure to stay involved in like Canadian fucking politics.
I didn't even fucking know this shit, yo.
You can Google this shit like hip game Nardwar. Pick a prime minister. And pick a candidate of a major party. And like we're talking, there's a couple of people who've refused them over the years. It is what it is. But like Nardwar is the kind of guy that'll actually show up at like a local Montreal city politics thing and ask a fucking obtuse question. Like he goes really fucking deep with it. Like he's canonized in Canadian politics by questioning Chrétien or whatever. Like it was him that asked him what he meant about swearing and shit. It's fucking amazing, this guy. Anyway, I'm a huge fan of Nardwar.
We need people like him. We need like the rule breakers, the ceiling breakers, the rule breakers, just the breaker of chains, all that.
I just like he's positive and educational and shit, He's cool.
But a lot of people are, but they choose not to use it. He's positive and educational, but he's also just like fucking breaking barriers. He's like, yo, I'm gonna ask a question that no one else is gonna ask. It's like my music. I'm gonna say the shit that no one else wants to fucking say. As much as I've talked a lot in this interview, and I even, before we're talking about the whole Travis thing, like, I'm gonna talk in a way that I want to be respected for. Like, this is, like, I need to say the truth, even if you might not like it, but you're gonna respect that I fucking said it, yo. Like, that's the way I gotta think, and that's what he thinks. He's just like, yo, I'm gonna just fucking do my own thing and say everything that people aren't saying.
I'm totally happy to move on from Nardwar real soon, but I got one more Nardwar related question. What's your favorite Nardwar episode? Like, what's the favorite one for you?
There was one. Oh, fuck.
And also, you in the chats, feel free to throw that in. Your favorite Nardwar interview.
Shucks. There was one, and he shocked the guy. It was, oh, I don't remember. I have to get back to you on that, because like I remember it being like, what the, because the guy was just like, are you serious? Like, where'd you find that? I remember that feeling, and that's what I want to feel. Like when you told me about my performance, I'm like, are you serious? I can't believe you saw. Like, it was that episode. I got to figure out who it was though. Sorry, I don't know right now, but I know the feeling, and I know there actually is one.
So shout out Lemeth for throwing out the Jay-Z. For me, it's the Eric Andre one. I don't know if you saw the Eric Andre one, but if you've never seen Eric Andre, he's fucking ridiculous. So Eric Andre does shit when he goes to interviews, like he doesn't shower and he trolls people, and the entire interview, Eric Andre trolls interviewers. So Nardwar doesn't shower. Nardwar basically counters Eric Andre, and it is 15 minutes or so of Eric Andre being out Eric Andre'd by Nardwar. And in that moment, he became the fucking goat to me because he broke Eric Andre. Nobody breaks fucking Eric Andre. Okay?
That's awesome.
Yo. You gotta watch like this shit. Like, it's, I don't, if you don't know Eric Andre,
send me the link, yo. Because it's like dying.
For anybody out there that does know Eric Andre, you should check that if you haven't seen it.
Like, the thing is, like, I don't know, but I could tell that this is very interesting. But anybody can outdo somebody else, like, yeah. That's just, like, that's fucking hilarious.
Down to the part where Nardwar made sure he smelt like shit, because that's an Eric Andre move. So he made sure. I'm straight up. That's part. Eric Andre's like, man, you smell like fucking shit. Gosh, man. At one point in the middle of it, because he's breaking
it.
Eric Andre exclaimed it. Like, you could see him breaking in that moment. Whereas Nardwar was like, I'm ready, dog. You think you got game? I'm motherfucking Nardwar. And he just destroyed Eric. Like, it was amazing. It is like the standoff of standoffs that ever happened in interview land. And I don't think it gets enough love, because I've never heard anybody else talk about it.
I just see this immediately. He's awesome. Like, he's fucking, I don't know what it is. Maybe he has a team behind him and finds all the information. But I really think he just really loves what he does, and he finds this shit all by himself. Like, I don't know.
I'm sure like it evolved. He's been at it for a long time. So what I think it is he's got the Rolodex of Rolodex.
But he's not even aging though. Like, he's like a white guy that's not aging. You know what I mean? Like, he looked the same like last time I saw him.
And shout out Ismail for bringing up the Nardwar interview with Weird Al. That was fucking jokes. I remember that one, and it's a good one.
I remember it too. Yes.
And that just lets you know there are people still with us, Lorelai. That's how amazing this is.
Yeah, but I don't even know why you guys are still here. I'm not taking off my shirt.
Nobody's asking you to, because your brain is fucking power.
I'm kidding.
Your brain is power. You're doing such interesting things with your life. Like, how many people can really say, yo, I started getting into music around the age of 30, and now I'm sitting there shopping shit around the fucking majors, trying to, do my thing. I'm an autonomous person. Yo, I'm the person Skylight in the studio when it opened up again. Yo, like, I'm just saying. And then on top of that, like, yo, I'm self-aware, and I recognize that maybe in my past I made mistakes. Like, you're going through like a 7-year artist career in like a year and a half, okay? Like, it's fucking insanity.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I have to give it to myself. That's the one. I don't like to have too much ego, but I am learning very quickly, and I think that's the most important thing. Is like, you have to make your, fail fast. If you're gonna fail fast. Don't be like, oh my god, I failed, what am I gonna do, and start crying. I did that in the beginning. That doesn't get you nowhere. You fail fast, okay, that didn't work, move on to the next thing, keep going. So I feel like that's why I'm able to grow so much, because I'm able to realize, like, hey, that's not working, and I can accept it. I'm not mad at myself. I tried something, it didn't work. Let's go to the next thing. Let's go. Let's do this. We have a goal.
So what are other things that you want to pursue down the line? Like, what does a 45-year-old Lorelai look like?
You're gonna get mad at me.
No, I'm
I want to
not.
be a mom. I want to be a soccer mom. I want to like have kids, and I want to be married. You know, by 45, I hope so. You know what I mean? Like, if not,
I
like,
want
I
to
kind
be
of failed
mad
at
at you
life.
for wanting that. That's human and shit. That's a
No,
normal
because
thing to
like I'm
want.
supposed to just like I'm gun ho for like the artistry, and I've like already I sacrificed a 4-year relationship for this. You know what I mean? Like I was about to. We were on that trail like on until I decided to live an artist life. So I feel like if I want that still, and you can't want the same like you can't want them both at the same time because they take so much
So,
energy.
so what I've been told is that that's not true, and because I've had this
Really?
conflict for a long time. Now, I'm not a parent, so but I am a Jew, which means the subject of kids comes up a lot in my life.
Of course.
On top of that, I do look at all of my artist friends who have kids, and I've over the last 8 years of my life talked to a lot of them about what it is. And here's what I understand happens: you're about to lose 3 years to your first kid. After that, you're good, and that's what it seems to be. The
I'm
first
not that
kid.
kind of mom though.
No, but here's just what happens to everybody, and this isn't what it is. It's just you have this kid, and for 3 years until daycare or whatever really picks up, it eats your soul, and everybody disappears off the radar. This is my observations as a non-parent. For about 3 years, I know when somebody goes, "I have a kid," I'm like, "You're out. You're out of it. You're just not even in life." 3 years later, they all resurface, like, "I'm back. My kid's old enough now, and we understand what the fuck we're doing." And then from that point on, they're just people again for the rest of their lives. So it seems to me like there is a 3-year-ish period of sacrifice with your first kid that you might have to take a little bit of a split priority situation. But then after that, you're gung ho forever. And then they all go, and then you have a kid, bro. You don't even understand. If you think you care about shit now, you're going to care about shit so much more when you
Yo.
have a kid. You're going to try. And I'm like, yo,
If the
man.
world knows what's right for them, they will not give me a child. Because once I know that I don't understand how much I can love something until I have that kid, and like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to protect it. Like I don't even get me started. When I'm a mom, it's a mom. Like it's your first fucking job. Like it's not 3 years. It's a fucking
No, what I
it's
meant
a
was
eternity thing. So that's why
it's
I'm scared of it. I'm scared because I know I'm gonna be like that kind of person. Like once I have that kid, it's that's what matters.
but
Like I love
inevitably
music, but
they
no.
start
I
going to
love my kid.
school and shit, right? And then once they go to school,
But I want
like,
to be home because, like, I used to get in trouble at school. Okay, I used to get in trouble. I used to get suspended. They call my house. Oh, your daughter's suspended for 3 days or whatever. I would just get home, delete the message, like, go. I would just, like go disappear for the days I was suspended, and no one fucking knew shit. If my mom was home, I would have probably been a different person. You know what I mean? Like, I thank goodness I'm who I am now. But like, I would have had a. I you just need that. You need someone to fucking discipline you. I was getting away with like murder back in the day because nobody was home. Everybody wants to make money, work. I had a single mom, so like it's different. Like she didn't have a husband to provide. But nowadays, like people like they work so they can have luxury.
right.
They don't. It's not a necessity. Like two parents work because for the luxury. You could easily afford a life on like a basic life on one salary. But everybody's chasing money, so we have two people working. No one's ever home. Internet raises our children. Now the world's fucked. I don't want to be contributing to that shit. I want to be a part-time mother. Sorry, not part-time, a part-time worker, home all the time, so I can make sure that things are going well. I can raise my fucking children. Like I'm not gonna fucking trust teachers and students with my kids. Like they're there, but I'm here to be like, hey, what you heard today, that's really not like a great thing. If you don't have that, that's why the world's fucking getting all fucked up. That's why there's twerking everywhere and people are like, I'm no, I'm sorry, I'm old school. That's why I don't have kids. I'm not married yet. I never been married. I don't have kids. I'm fucking old school. No way. I'm not contributing to that mess. And people are gonna hate me and be like, oh my gosh, why is she like that? That's what those are my
I mean,
values.
I don't see how anyone has grounds to hate
Like
you.
that's my value.
No, but like you look, I mean, my parents didn't have jobs a lot when I was young. So they were like really heavily involved in my life in a way that would not have been possible. And then somewhere around 12 years old, they were both employed. And I'm not going to lie, I got into a lot more trouble once all of a sudden they were not around in my life. And then, so like, I look at it like I can't tell you what the right answer is. I know that
There's
a
no
lot
right
of people
answer.
have a lot of solutions for how to deal with this problem. But
There's
it is
no right
absolutely
answer.
fair to say that in the system and the world that we're in, there are a lot of people that are not as present in the lives of their children as is ideal. Now, I don't want to say that everybody's chasing luxury because there's a large number of people
It
that
was
are, in
general. It was
fact,
I don't think
that
everybody's
are,
in general.
just to
Society
like be
cares more
fair.
about money than they care about anything else. That's in general.
And
Like,
I
they're
would say that to a large number of people, it really is about providing basics more than it's like providing luxuries. But the problem is then like you don't want your kid to like be the only kid without, and it gets complicated, right? There's some complicated shits that go into like parenting is a pure pressure game that us non-parents don't have to play. That's what I learned.
See, it's
Like,
like
there's
I
a
have a
lot of
younger brother who I got, like, I was in high school graduating, he was in grade 6. So
mm,
I got to see, like, I know, like, I wasn't a parent, but like I was like I knew what he went through compared to my generation, you know what I mean? So I get the whole, like, I was working at Foot Locker, actually. It was my favorite job ever. And I'd always get him new shoes because I knew what it was like to be made fun of for having the same shoes. You know what I mean? Like, I had like two pairs of shoes a year. Like, I made sure I had a new pair of shoes every 2 months because I knew what it was like to be fucking made fun of. So I get like it's different. I get like just like I know that you don't want to give your kid too much, but you don't want to give them like too less, And then sometimes you don't have a choice. But
it's
I
like
feel like in general, like, we are living in a society that doesn't understand money. Like, we have the fucking students, okay, like, and I say fucking, excuse me, but like students were protesting, like, we need to like lower our tuition. Like, how dare you hike it? Yo, why are you wearing a cat goose jacket? Like, if you're really a fucking student and you're really worried about money, don't be fucking sporting a $700 jacket. Like, there's jackets that do the same kind of shit, but don't have that brand. So like, come on with me. You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of bullshit I'm trying to avoid. Like, I
I'm
don't
gonna
want
just
that.
say I have like McKinley's or some shit. It was $280 and it was on special on Boxing Week, so I got it for less, like 150.
Yeah.
I'm on my third year of it, and it's real warm in the coldest weather.
Right? But but I think it's a smart decision. I even told him, like, I want to buy a onesie, like, a onesie snowsuit to stay warm. It's not about fucking being cool anymore. It's about being warm. So like
But
these students are
like,
just like, I need to
we're
have the Canada Goose to
also
be cool. But like, what about being warm first? Like, and then so you make your parents like spend 300 instead
so
of
somebody
600 and just
was
doing the same job.
so I was talking to this guy from New York, and I have like basically a version of this show that I'm privileged right now where it's exactly this, but with people in New York. And they're often, and so this guy's a battle rapper. His name is Bones Brigante, and he's been in the scene. He's done some shit with Grind Time and some other shits back in the days. And he was explaining fashion to me from a perspective that I had never considered before, at least in his community growing up, which would be like Harlem in like the 80s 90s.
Wow.
So
Okay.
he's it was one of them. It might be Bronx. I'm bad at my New York geography. They all just kind of laugh at me a bit. I'm okay with that.
Okay, yeah,
But
Brooklyn, Bronx, Harlem were all very dangerous in the 80s and 90s, so we're good. Don't
yeah,
worry.
so it's just a context setter there. But what was explained to me is in a world where you're not allowed to buy houses and have wealth and really do that, right? You're kind of just left with fashion. So when I look at youth, it's very clear that we're never like, I can't afford a fucking house in Montreal. If I want a house, I got to leave the city.
Yeah,
I
for
don't want to
sure.
leave the city. So if I can't afford a house and I'm doing okay, how are
Yeah,
these kids ever going to have that kind of level of expression
for sure.
outside of the vain materialism? So in a sense, I feel like you have a really valid point from a point of like practical, like looking at it. But then when there's no opportunity kind of left, what are you stuck with? Like, yo, I'm not
No,
gonna
but
lie, my
how do you think
Fitbit.
Vaudreuil, Laval, all these people, how do you think they're getting populated? And like, how do you think it happened like 50 years or as 100 years before? It's like, okay, so we overcrowd a city, it becomes too expensive, and then we expand. And Montreal used to be this big, and now it's this big because we've expanded. So it's just
Yo,
time.
that's a
Like,
big topic. The
it's
real
all it
answer to your
is.
question is foreign investors and a lot of other
I worked in
big,
real estate, so I know this.
so
This is
big
my bread
white
and butter.
collar shit's going on, right? Like, look at how condos. Let's just take, she makes, just to shout
Don't
out
even
locale.
fucking get me
So
started. Do not buy a condo. Are people listening? Do not buy a condo. Go buy something that has good bones and renovate. Do not buy a condo. The what people do is like, how fast and how cheap can we put up that's condo rules. How fast, how cheap. Do not buy a condo. You're not gonna get quality. I have someone bought a condo. They have mice in their fucking condo. Like, I have apartment buildings that like they've been
no,
up for
but
100 years, no mice, because they don't do
there's
their shit
um
right.
there's
Sorry,
something
I just
else
want to
to
warm you.
condos. Just to answer the bigger question with foreign investment. So
Like, sorry.
a lot of times what happens is the condo goes for sale like 2 years before it's made, right? So like a millennial, let's say, we don't want to buy some fucking house that we're not gonna get for 2 years, so we don't buy that one. But some guy buys that, And then
It's
when the condo
investors.
is
It's overseas
built,
investors that do that.
and then when
And
the
now
condo
Airbnb
is
people.
built, it's now 300. Let's say it was 200,000 unbuilt. Now it's 350 built, right? Because it's ready to go. There's a demand for it. The value's increased. It took 3 years. Blah blah blah. So now when you flip it, it's actually like somebody overseas or whatever is actually kind of pimping out a whole bunch of people by clipping that extra little bit, and the money just kind of leaves. So the landlord makes the initial shit, and then some other guy just pulled 150 on that fucking condo.
Okay, I'll do another thing. If you're gonna buy a condo, buy 2 years, 3 years in advance. That's what you gotta do. Don't ever buy after it's built. You need to buy pre-built. I'll give you an example for why. I was working at a company, and we were building a whole, like, we tore down a bunch of buildings, and we're gonna build a whole new condo thing. And we charge people a certain amount, like, this is going to be the budget, and you inflate it a little bit. You're like, this is what's going to cost, but, like, you know what, let's inflate it. This is what we're going to charge for everybody for their condos, whatever. So we do all that, and then lo and behold, no one tested the fucking soil, right? So after we've taken all these, like, you know, these apartments, like the pre-sales, we find out we have to like $250,000 to inject concrete into the soil because you know, we didn't test soil, and it wasn't sturdy enough, so it couldn't hold the building. But people who had already bought didn't have to fucking deal with that the extra surcharge. You know, like, so if you're gonna buy a condo, buy before. Like,
that's actually great. Like, I feel like we both had the exact same point.
Like, because like the boss was like, how did you not fucking test the soil, bro? Like, how did you? And they're like, if someone fucked up, you know, and we had to inject literal concrete so the fucking building wouldn't fall down. And the people who pre-bought did not have to pay that cost. You can't just if you're sold, if you bought the condo, you can't be like, hey, by the way, we fucked up, and no, you have a contract.
But yo, because of that extra. But yo, what's crazy about that too, right? Is because of that extra cost, right? So because that happened, the whole quote unquote value of the condo goes up. So now the unit price is higher. No?
Nope, it doesn't go up. Okay, most of the time, you see this a lot of times. The house is worth less than the land it's on. But you see that all the time. Like, you go and buy like an old house, and it's like the value of the land that it takes up is more valuable than the fucking house that it is. So it's the same with the condo. It's like they already, like, if you're gonna buy, this was in Saint Laurent. So where we were buying was like I think it was Couverture Avenue, or like a big like street in big street in Saint Laurent. So we already had that value. It didn't matter how much it cost us to build it. The land is the value, not the building. That's why they say build cheap, build fast. The faster you get it up, the less money you spend. The cheaper you build, the less money you spend. But it's the land you're spending money on. That's why it costs so much money to do downtown. And, you know, like, slowly but surely, we are doing a gentrification. Verdun, they put a beach. Like, why do you think they did the beach for? Like, it's slowly to get the people out of there, because we want to have like a better, that the land is becoming more valuable. The closer you are to downtown, the more valuable your land's gonna be. So it's the same thing. It has nothing to do with the structure unless you build it yourself.
So if I can just take something away from
facts.
So if I can just take something away from what you just said there, basically they're trying to expand downtown by gentrifying the price values, because I'm in NDG, right? NDG is pretty fucking.
But you had the hospital. You saw the price range. Something about that hospital. My friend would only sell her condo after the hospital was built, and her doubled in value. So yes.
And then
not just downtown, like major, like a hospital, like major, like I don't know what you call it, city things, like. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just like to give an example, like we're talking about area that is formerly Hood. Right where I'm at now, and this
I've been to, but
But like where I'm at now, honestly, you're seeing it happen in terms of how they're moving the rent prices up, and they're trying to. Somebody told me the rent price 2 buildings away for a 3.5 is like $12.50. I'm like, yo,
you know what I pay here, so
fucking like... live. You're like next to a Subway. I'm saying Subway because
I pay less than your apartment, dude. Like, calm down. Like,
my shit's nice and big though.
I have a 5.5, bro. I have 2 bedrooms and an office a huge kitchen. Okay. Like, my apartment's way bigger than yours, and I pay less than you because, like, it's.
See, that's not like
it's Montreal.
Though. But like to find that again is going to be really hard if you were to move.
I was here. I've been here for 5 years. You know what I mean? That's why I didn't move. Like I don't need all the space, but I was like, if I were to move, like my lease was up December. I was gonna pay $750 for a fucking 3.5. I pay an extra 200. I have my two. No. You gotta think
But
ahead.
what I'm saying is, if you were to actually look at the price of anything right now,
It's
it's
ridiculous.
not. It's like honestly, like a place that's like half the size of mine is going for like $200-300 more than what I'm paying right now, and I'm sitting there going, "Yo, it's fucking weird what's happening in this city, like in terms of rent
The key is
prices."
not to move. Do not like you find a place you love. Do not move. We have really great laws for real estate. They cannot raise you more than a certain amount a month, and so a certain amount a year, and you're good. Like I've been here for 5 years. That's why I have such a good price. Like
Right. That's big facts. But it's weird that we're in this situation where the good advice is, yo, find a place you want to live. Don't move anywhere.
some
Lock
people.
up forever. Find the good deal.
No,
Cause
when the SQDC, like I live like right next to SQDC. I was like, I could live, like I'm dying here. Like just like build my grave. Like I'm dying here. Like I don't need to go anywhere anymore. Like
but,
for real. Like I'm super chill.
but even that probably raised the value of shit in the neighborhood because now
I
it's
don't even
becoming a
know.
more high traffic area.
I rent, so I didn't think of that. Like dude, the lines have been ridiculous. But you go there, so you
No.
know the lines have
So
been
yeah,
fucking
I was
ridiculous
there
recently.
earlier today. It took a while to get into the store because it's closing early for 5 and it's New Year's tomorrow.
Fuck,
So,
I don't have weed, yo. I just realized
dude,
I got.
honestly, they said they closed the door at 5 heavy hard. You're not
I
even gonna be able
know.
to get in. It is what it is. Otherwise, I'd be like, okay, I get it. You're not even. There's no way that line. I guarantee you is
No,
up the
I'm
fucking
not even
street right
coming home
now.
tonight if I go on that line.
No, it's fucking crazy. Mortgaging is complicated, local, so it's very complicated. And because where are we gonna mortgage? There's nothing in the fucking city that's not a condo that you can buy that anybody can afford. Shit's like fucking ludicrous for like actual houses and shit. Like it's ludicrously like.
In Toronto, they have like co-ops. A lot of like co-op. We don't have a lot of co-ops here. Co-ops are super fucking chill in Toronto. But I guess they have
What's a
such
co-op?
high like rent. So co-op is like somebody buys your building and they decide like we're all gonna live together and contribute and we're gonna pay like lower rent because like we're trying to like we're not trying to make money, so you're gonna do the lawns or like it's like it's kind of like a condo but like more like friendly, like less bureaucratic, like less like numbers, like people know it's like usually it's like a duplex or a triplex and go into co-op. It's just like, and somebody I know lives in Toronto. They're like, what was it? It was 8 years ago, so it's not really relevant. But like, they're paying like 500 when like rent was like 1,000. But like, all they have to do is like be friendly and like be kind to their neighbors and like bake a cake and like show up to birthdays sometimes. Like they were just like living in this kind of community where like they bought the building and they're literally paying mortgage prices. But like, if you can move in and move out as you please, as long as you're approved. I don't know. I feel like
That's
that's
an
super. I love
interesting
co-ops.
idea.
I fucking love co-ops. It's like everybody work together, make a better world.
But like even on that note, like just because I'm always trying to think about like how to improve stuff, and like nobody really likes the idea in terms of like my fucking life. But yeah, just to respond to locale, so like we live in Montreal, so a lot of people
I can't
just
see your
didn't
guys'
have.
comments. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. A lot of people here just didn't grow. Like my parents didn't have a house, right? So I grew up in an apartment, and a lot of us just grew up in apartments. Not a lot of us grew up in a. So yeah, so anybody that had a house can get their parents' shit and flip it and go down that route. And these people, but they don't end up buying houses now. They get condos,
No,
which
but
is
these
kind
are
of
things that like exist. Like these are people like my people, the hippie, like tree hugging people. It's want to like love. Like we go and
but
we buy
like
these places, and we let
but
anybody move in
like
as long as they get the interview kind of thing. Like it's
s-
super chill.
so basically it just gets to a point where a large percentage of people in this city don't have the equity to pull off that initial down payment because like unless you were like hyper frugal with your shit from like 18 to 25, which most of us are not, you
We're
only
not.
wake up later on and go, oh fuck, I got credit card debt. And so like, and then the problem is that again, it's condos versus houses. Like nobody's affording houses as their first home in Montreal.
Okay, when you step outside of Montreal, of course. As soon as you step
Yeah.
outside the
So
city,
that's the other
yes.
part of it. But the thing is when you want to go buy a house off the island of Montreal, um, basically you need a car now, possibly two cars. So let's say you want to leave Montreal, you just added like almost $1,000 a month minimum to your life on top of
Definitely.
everything else.
Definitely.
Whereas by staying in my thing, like, yo, listen, I cycle in the summer, I rely on public transit, I save a fuck ton of money. It allows me to build my business. That was the prioritization I made. But there was no way I could both build my business / my music career / all this shit and own a home. I could not have done both those things with my current salary life. Like, it would have been like one or the other. Like, maybe if I didn't have vices and I was perfect with my money, it would have worked out.
I was like,
But that's like,
you can if you just don't want to be happy.
no, but
you
like,
can.
honestly, recently I'm in that like salary range where it's possible to do both. But younger me, nah, I wasn't making enough money until like the last few years, for real. I would have been like late 20s before I made that kind of salary. Just being like
I feel like
completely
it's
real.
not about money, it's about sacrifice. Like,
No, but like,
I never could
I'm
imagine
saying,
like. Sorry, go ahead.
look, I put 5 figures into my music. Like, to put that's the down payment of the house. So like, I could have done one or the other. Like, it wasn't like I could have, like, I didn't make enough money over the last 8 years of my life to do both, is I guess what I'm saying. But yeah, that's just kind of what it is, right? Like, so the reality of the housing markets in our cities are ridiculous. But yeah, that's all it is. So I just wanted to like
I
put
love
that
how I'm
out.
just like sharing these like nuggets of like non-music shit. And people are like, what
No,
the fuck?
but
We're gonna start talking about music again. I actually forgot where like I was
no, that's,
Lorelai.
I'm
I
not even
forgot
gonna
that I was
lie.
interviewing as Lorelai. I was like, yeah, Keisha's having such a blast.
I'm gonna be real with you though. That's what makes this shit work, yo. Like, yo, people like, look. There's gonna be a lot of interviews in life that are gonna be like, "Tell me your favorite music influences. Tell me this." Like, those questions are gonna be asked by like the rest of the world, like
Yeah,
straight up.
they are.
Let's talk about the
I did
housing
like
market.
some stuff yesterday. They were asked. That was definitely asked. Like, who were influenced you? Who are you compared to? And I was like, okay, cool. Let's talk about that. So I'm glad like we're
Honestly,
talking about something else.
Kelso, basically our government sold out to like other countries, and nah, it's real fucking bad. We're all going, yo, dudes, yo, the government's not doing shit, and it's fucking bad. It's fucking weird, actually. So like, I guess there's maybe like ways to get like tiny bonuses, but not to the level that would make a fucking difference. Yo, we are not set up like that. It is whack what's going on in our housing market in this city of Montreal, Toronto, a few other major cities. It's actually really scary, bad when
Maybe
you
I
run
haven't
some
been reading enough
economics.
articles, but like so far, like yo, if we're gonna complain, we shouldn't because Toronto,
Toronto's
Vancouver,
next level.
Ottawa, like
No, we're still good.
we are so. I was
But
telling somebody,
not if you're 20.
somebody
you're
was like,
20
"Yo, how do you have a 3-bedroom and you're like a single female?" I'm just like, "Yo, like," and because they come from Toronto and Ottawa, they're like, "How do you like?" I'm like,
Yeah.
and then they
Bedroom
said
in
like,
Toronto is
"Oh,
bad
you live in
off.
Montreal." I forgot, and I was like, "Yeah, man." Like, yo, we're good. I'm not saying that it's perfect. I'm just saying
But
that
like, I'm just because we have a
count
dude
our
in the
blessings.
UK chatting with us, right? So we're just kind of, he's like, yo, doesn't your government hook you up? I'm like,
Wait. Okay,
we
wait.
have
Kelso? And sorry, I don't want to be rude. What was?
Low Kelso
Hey, yeah,
786 said he's in the UK.
in the UK? Oh my! But
Yeah.
no, London is the most expensive city in the fucking world. Are you serious? Like, hey, I know UK is not just London, but I know London is the most expensive city in the world. So
Yeah. I don't know.
I totally get you, Kelso.
All I'm saying is like, at the end of the day, the housing market is in a weird fucking place. And honestly, I think there's a lot of value in having a grown-up conversation about a housing market. Where are you from, Locale? So, because that's an interesting point too.
Super interesting.
Because yeah, that's the thing. London is like New York. We're in Montreal though, so you got to understand we're kind of in that boat, right? Like
No,
we're
dude,
not.
London is worse than. Okay,
we're
you
not,
ever watch the movie Harry Brown? Watch Harry Brown and then come back.
I know how expensive London is.
Yo, that shit
like,
fuck your life.
So the fact doesn't change that Montreal is trying to catch up fast. Okay, we're not there yet, but they're playing some fast catch-ups. And that's why it's concerning, because we have these examples like London and Toronto to point to.
Yes.
And he
it's
said
jumped.
Wales,
The real estate
Cardiff.
market has definitely fucking jumped. Like it's taken like, you know, like, oh, you raised it by 50%. Like it's doing like a 10. Like it's the how they're jumping it's fucked up. It's getting really
that's why I'm
expensive really
saying.
fast.
That's why it's like,
agree.
yes, we can totally acknowledge that a lot of places in life are worse. Yo,
they're taking advantage of people. It's sorry, I get really sad. They're taking advantage of people.
Tell the peoples, man. Like, it's what it is. Look, I don't think a lot of people like. I don't know how many people actually sit there and look at the real estate market. You know what I found out about the New York City real estate market for corporate retail is it kind of goes to like the idea of the land being valuable. So there are places that just don't get rented out. So people buy the money to kind of freeze their assets. So like really, really, really rich people will buy these corporate like real estate buildings, at
Especially in the
ridiculous
US, they have
numbers.
special laws for investment. Oh, don't even. Yes,
But then
I
so
agree.
they
Sorry.
buy these buildings and they hold them. They don't actually ever plan to rent them out. But now these funds are frozen in a way that is not liquid. But they're valuable assets
Yep.
that contribute to net worths, which
Exactly.
contribute to bigger macroeconomic games.
Don't
So
even, and their taxes, you don't even fucking, your taxes get such a huge break on that shit because you have like an invest, like it's fucked up in the States, yo. Like I swear to gosh, it's, you see them and you're just like, that's why I said the rich can only get richer unless you're dumb. The
But
poor,
then it's like,
they don't have a fighting fucking chance, yo.
because like right
me off.
now, like we actually saw a visualization of that earlier this year. So what happened was a fire sale on the stock market. I watched AMD drop to $33, and then I opened up a Wellsprings account, and it said, "You have debt. Shut the fuck up. Stop playing rich man games and pay off your debt." And I said, "Okay, Wellsprings," and I chose not to. Wellsprings is yeah, that's the one. They gave me shit and said, basically, it's a free investment, so you can jump on Wealthsimple and buy stocks and sell stocks. But here's the thing. I have debt that I have to pay off. When my debt is paid off, I can play the game of stocks and I can have all the fun.
I just
like
filed
all the
bankruptcy.
Kids. Because I don't have that kind of debt. And I did that once before when I was young, and I like having credit more than I like. I definitely like having credit more than I like having to worry about shit. So here's what happened with bankruptcy. I declared bankruptcy. Then I had an opportunity to go to Pakistan. So thank goodness I signed up randomly for a Canadian Tire credit card because I wanted a blanket. They fucking approved me with a $200 credit. And I'm sitting there in Pakistan with a $200 credit limit. It was weird. Okay, I'm fucking doing transfers to my card every day. I'm bound by this because you're in another country. And at this point in my life, I can make enough money to pay down my shit responsibly. And it's more powerful for me to have that liquidity than to actually cut myself out. Oh, I was in Pakistan for work. I went to train a sales team.
I was like, what the fuck are you in Pakistan for, bro? You gotta rewind to like, how did you get there?
So
super
I went to
story,
work
but what
and
the fuck?
I went to a call center and then I got promoted to trainer because I write real well and I talk real well, they said. And then because I was the trainer, they were opening up a Pakistani operation and they wanted to have somebody go there. But my boss's wife had just got pregnant, so it was a risk for him to go. So he's like, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "Yes." Yes. And then I had to take my earrings out because it was perceived as not a wise move to go with earrings in.
Where are earrings? Like in your ears? Like we're talking earrings?
Yeah, I had 2 earrings and they're like, "Listen, it's fucking Pakistan. You should maybe not go with earrings and draw attention to yourself in another foreign country that is unlike your own." And
with
I'm
a
like,
Jewish,
okay.
like you have your Jewish, like do you went to
Yo,
Israel so you had your
my
fucking
mom-
Jewish stamp, yo?
No. So I don't have anything that's obvious, but I did have to fill out the visa form like 3 times because I actually kept writing my mom's maiden name because my parents were divorced at this time. And I had to refill it out. So I just put my mom's with my dad's last name and I wrote Christian. Like, you think I'm going to write, because I had to apply for a fucking visa. So I had to like make it look like everyone's like, "You're not Jewish. Okay. You are not fucking Jewish the whole time you're there."
The Israel passport, he was born there, and he had the Canadian passport. I said, if we're traveling, you better fucking put that Israel passport. Like we're traveling to Canada. I don't want no fucking issues. And it's not like I'm not racist or whatever. It's just like I know when we get to borders, it's gonna be a problem.
I then went to Israel after I went to Pakistan. So I went to Israel with these Pakistani fucking stamps.
Did you go directly?
8 months later. It was 8
Wait,
months
isn't that
later.
illegal? Oh my goodness.
It was 8 months later, and there is actually a ban. I'm pretty sure that does.
But you can't get your stamp. Like someone told me, do not get your. If you're gonna travel from, if I want to do Israel, Egypt,
but it's a work visa. Work visas are kind of special, right? Because of the work visas.
They don't give fucks. Like if you go to a Muslim to like any like if you go Israel to anywhere else that's like.
Well, Israel doesn't stamp Canadian passports.
If you have that stamp, they're not fucking with you.
Israel doesn't stamp Canadians. You don't need a visa to go. You can just. Well, I could go. I don't know. I just went and they didn't stamp shit.
They stamp your passport.
No, Pakistan stamped my shit. Israel didn't stamp shit. They don't do that in Israel, or at least on birthright. They took my passport away, and then I got it back, and I never got a stamp. But I did have a Pakistani stamp in there, which was my work fucking visa thing, which I was allowed to go.
That's so legit. I'm like, what? Like, I can't believe you're in Pakistan. That's
it was amazing. It was so cool. It was like, honestly, so here's what happens when you go to a place like that. Instantly, you're worth a lot more money. And like what I mean is your dollar goes a lot farther, and you're being given a per diem. So I got $30 a day Canadian in addition to my salary to be there, and it was upfront. They gave me an $870 check, and they said, I don't need you to pay this back or keep track of receipts, bro. It's a bonus. Have fun. I came back. I threw out everything. I went there with all my clothes.
dope.
I threw out all of it. I came back with fake ass fucking everything. My Hugo Boss suit is a fake I bought in Pakistan, and it fits lovely, and I like it a lot. 70 Canadian dollars, fitted suit. Just saying, good fucking deal.
Nope.
The one thing I learned is don't cheap out on fake watches. Actually put up $500 for a fake watch because you can flip that for 5 figures back in Canada when you get home.
Yes.
Big facts if you are in that part of the world.
Jewelry, like that. Yes.
And cheap fakes fall apart quick, so put up some money for your fakes. That's what I learned. I learned a lot about buying fakes in Pakistan because a lot of shit's made there, so all of that shit kind of leaks out into the black market. But the food was next level. I don't know. I'm a white dude.
I forgot
there.
about Indian food is one of my favorite foods. Like Thai and Indian are my favorite foods.
I didn't understand shit. Like you're looking at the menu and like I didn't understand what was on the menu. Okay,
I'd be like chicken rice spicy. Yes, that's what I would do.
But it's more like they have just words for different kinds of stews and dishes and shit that
yeah. But like, hey, I know Indian cuisine. I'm like, yeah, of course. But like, yeah, I guess if you don't know, then it's different. Yeah.
So, but no, you don't know. This isn't Indian. This is Pakistani. It is.
But it's
actually
very similar cultures. They like it
is like because one of them likes pork, one of them likes beef. Hugely different cuisines.
How about like one of them hates pork and one of them hates beef? Like it's like literally a sin. And like
when you're like in like, Pakistan, you got a lot of beef and chicken stews and there's similarities. So you get like naan bread and saag and things like that. I knew what those things were.
The spice mix is the same. That's what I'm talking about. Like when you.
But I actually went. Okay, like we went to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store and I looked at spices. It's like it's a whole other universe. It doesn't say turmeric. It doesn't say this shit. It's just colorful shit, and it all smells really strong. And you're just like, and I'm not hating. I'm saying my ignorant ass doesn't know any. I'm looking at menus in my hotel, and I'm like,
want to know. I love this conversation. You know?
What is that? Because it says Chinese food. And Chinese food in Pakistan is nothing like Chinese food in Canada.
Chinese food in China is not Chinese food, you know? So don't stress about it, bro. Like don't
You're just like staring at this. I don't know. It was a great time. It was amazing. But you really was. You know what I loved? The thing I loved the most was I could ball. When I say ball, I mean like we all went to McDonald's and it was like 23 Canadian for 8 people. I will never forget this time. This one time I went to this little bootleg restaurant. We had this delicious cheesy souvlaki thing. It was next level. And then it was $18 for 8 of us. And then as I left, I gave the guy the equivalent of $1 Canadian as like a fucking tip. Like, I'm just like, take it, because I'm having a goofball fucking moment. This guy looked at me like he'd never seen anybody give him that much money in his entire fucking life.
Okay, no.
And I'm like tripping.
I can't. Because that happened in Dominican. Like like for you it's nothing, and for them it's the fucking world. I know that feeling. I have to stop. I can't.
But like it's huge, right? And so the next thing you know, it's like you're like, you know what's crazy? Sad. These guys make like, relative to what I was making,
like what I'm making a day, they make in a month. It makes me. Oh, I can't. I'm sorry.
No, it's a little more like 3 days for a month. But it's
it's still like fucking ridiculous. That's what I mean, like,
But like for these guys too, like they were telling me like everybody has to work at home and this that. But you know what was crazy? It's because I was a guest in their home. These guys are trying to like pay, and I'm like, yo, shut the fuck up. You are not paying, okay? Like I can't. Like it's just not. It's not ethically.
But see
right.
that we don't get that. Like people will have loads of money in their pocket and still not pay for you in Canada. That's fucking respect. That's integrity. That's dignity. That's race.
Shout out my homeboy Flaco Bayo, who's been a big help. I just shut him up because he told me this trip he came down and he saw some people. He was telling me how he was with Merker and them, and he met them in real life and was doing some shit. And he was like, he paid the bill just to like floss because that's the kind of shit guy he is. So like there are people like that.
Wait, Flaco sounds familiar. Flaco. Is he an Montreal Artist?
No, he's from New York, but he comments on Merker shit a lot, so you might have seen his name.
Okay, maybe that's where I see it.
Merker's a cool guy. Merker's like a plug in knowledge.
Merker did a movie the other day that made me feel like, this is the realest person in Montreal after Holden.
Nah, I'm not the realest person. I'd say Merker's a realer guy than me.
I got from my lighter, like I feel like coming to your place, like, let's smoke a joint, like take an intermission, and by the time the intermission over, I'm at your place, like, surprise.
It's actually like not impossible, but
it's not. It's like I'm 5. Like if I were to get Uber, 7 minutes, I'm at your place. 7 minutes, bro.
Then add 7 minutes for
I'm
waiting
like
for the
7
Uber. And then
like,
like the
can't
10x
wait.
pricing because it's New Year's Eve. Nah, but like all things considered though, what was the move Merker made? Share the move with people. What
Okay,
impressed you?
I'll be honest with you because I don't like to be like too whatever with people, but like I had misunderstood something, and he made the move to make sure that I wasn't in like sorry I see like, I'm trying to like not be a bait motherfucker, you know. So like I had I had misunderstood like a vibe, and then he was just like, by the way, like, don't be upset. Like, I wasn't thinking that way. I wasn't accusing you of that. Like, you know, and it was just like
Mm.
super chill because a lot of people don't even fucking care how maybe you feel about the way they talk to you. But he made sure to let me know that like, hey, I know it may come off like that, but like, and that's not what I'm trying to say, which is basically my fucking life, yo. I always say a bunch of stuff, and because there's no tone in text, people think I'm like a bitch or people think I'm mean, but I'm literally half the time laughing my ass off. I'm just making jokes. So he would like just made that move to make sure that I knew that it was like not that vibe. Like I thought he was mad at me. I thought he was mad at me and he hated me. And I was like I was kind of sad, you know? And then like he just made sure that like I understood that that wasn't what was going on. Cuz like sometimes you read a text and if depending on what mood you're in, you're going to read that text in that tone.
Yo, that's what I was saying earlier when I'm bad with humor. I fuck that shit up all the
Yeah.
time and
Like
then I
I'm
get in trouble
insecure, you know?
online.
I'm
Yeah.
insecure, so I'm gonna fucking look at your shit, and I'm gonna obviously like try and be like, my brain's gonna be like, yo, you fucked up, like, and you're gonna take it a certain way, you know what I mean? But like,
Mm.
he went out of his way to make sure that I didn't take it that way. And for me,
Nah,
like,
he's
it's
one
like
of the realest
one, you
ones.
know me, and two, like, yo, you're real as fuck. You know what I mean? Like that to me is like everything. Like that, like taking your time to make sure that you know people that are in your circle that you're friends with or that you work with like because you get to know them and like if you get to know me like I can sometimes take things the wrong way and I can sometimes rant and be like super upset about something and all it takes is just like hey I didn't mean it like that and then I'm like oh fuck okay cool you know and my brain can stop fucking ticking but
Big facts.
other people just let you keep going and then you build your own fucking snowball and they're fucking you know so it was just so cool like to have someone be like
Nah,
don't build your snowball there's no snowball needed here like we're cool like you read it wrong like don't even you know it was fucking dope yo like I don't meet people like that every day usually people just don't give a fuck they're just like whatever you know deal with your own shit but he just made sure that I understood like that I don't know like it was just really awesome I don't deal with that a lot. Like I don't get to meet people who are gonna take the time to like make sure our business relationship is on good terms. Like people are usually like, I don't care and they just like ghost you or whatever. Like I love building with people. So for someone to actually take the time to be like, hey, maybe her emotions, you know, like I know how she is. She's fucking crazy. Let me like make sure she understands. Like that means a lot to me.
I appreciate you sharing that because, like, for myself, I go
I don't
through
want to be
that.
in trouble with him. I don't want to be in trouble. like
But like,
I,
but like,
I
think
don't know.
about
I
what
did
you
I
just
say too
like
much? But I
said.
don't even fucking
Just to
know,
like
yo.
we can like unpack that a little bit, right? And I go through this all the time myself, right? You saw something and maybe you read it wrong because I think people sometimes forget that when we're on the internet, we might also just be multitasking and doing a bunch of random shit. So you don't read the lol or you don't see the smiley face or you
Yeah.
don't see Merker's classic
And
little
not even you sometimes you just don't want to because you're in your own mood. So you're gonna read
mm,
that text whatever way you want to read it or whatever you think that person sounds. But like until that person tells you this is exactly my tone and mood, you're gonna it's up to you to decide what it is. You know what I mean?
right. But
So
like, but then the fact is that in a sense, for all of us to move forward with a wiser approach to dealing with each other, sometimes there's value in that follow up. I try to follow up with
uh
people now and clarify shit.
I'm so grateful. Like I want to do that with people. Like, you know, I actually do that. I'm like, hey, by the way, like, you know, that was sarcastic. Or, hey, you know, I put the crying emoji because like I'm fucking dying. Like I'm not like mean. I'm like laughing. Like this is a fun moment. Like I try to go out of my way to tell people stuff, but then I'm like, I talk too much, you know? So I super appreciate when people will make the effort to make sure that you understand the way they're trying to speak. Because we all communicate. No one calls me anymore. I love talking to people because they as soon as they talk to me, they're just like they know the vibe. It's like when you met me, like you're like, yeah, I know your vibe. You can just kind of feel my tones and like I laugh out loud, and when I put LOL, I'm literally laughing out loud, and like not a lot of people are like that. Like
Now, when
people
I put LOL, I'm being a sarcastic asshole.
Yeah,
That's the
LOL.
truth of it.
I use emojis all the time to fucking describe my like to try and describe like the way I'm kind of say something. It's like the laughing emoji. There's like the sweating one. That's my favorite. Like I don't know if I should say that.
I don't even know what the fuck the sweating one means half the time. Everybody uses it different. And
No,
I
it's
think
like
that's
I don't
my
know if I
problem.
should say this.
But like that's the thing is that's not what I take from that. I'm like I don't know what
Really?
the fuck it means. I look at that. I look at these emojis. I look at this stuff, and I feel like everybody understands what this means. And I was too busy being a stubborn asshole for like 8 years. Like I like typing, and then I missed like the whole fucking.
I like typing. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I write fucking essays on Facebook, right?
I know.
You don't see me doing GIFs. Yo, when I open up the GIF window, I'm not good at it. Okay, I don't know how to find GIFs. I don't know how to think about them. I don't like. My girlfriend just opens them up and throws the perfect one, and then I put a horrible one, and then she's just like, boring. Your GIFs suck. And I'm like, I don't even know how to find them because I don't even know what the ones are. So I'm like, emojis, people like there's like this whole language that like is very visual, and I just like fucking missed it, and I don't know how to do it. That's where I'm at. So there's like a part of internet culture and text language that like, listen, I took all the time to learn how to write full and complete sentences, and I took a lot of pride in that. And it turned out that that didn't help me in emoji land. That's all I'm trying to say.
If we're honest, like the only emojis we really know as a side that mean something are like the eggplant, like
I do know what that means.
Pardon?
I know what the eggplant means.
Well, yeah, eggplant, peach, and like the drippy one. You know, like those are things we know because like as a society we agree that that's what that meant. But anything else is up for interpretation. There is no rule book. There's no fucking text rules. Like that's the thing is like whatever I think that sweating smiley means might not be for everybody else. But we all know the eggplant and the beach. Like we all know those classic ones. And like the devil that smiles.
But even then, like people use that like smiley devil one in different purposes. Sometimes
I know.
I'm a
recently, I've been figuring out. Like, okay, that's not what I thought of it.
Promiscuous. I've seen people use it to imply a lot of different things.
I know.
And I think that's
agree.
the problem.
But at one point, it meant sex.
It did. But but like from my point of view of it all, like this is where I struggle with it. It's I look at this stuff and I'm like, I know it could be a lot of things. So I'm going to just read the words, and then I think about the words, and then I find out that was a joke, and I'm like, fuck.
It's tough. It's tough. It's really fucking tough. Like, especially for someone like me who has a lot of tone in their voice, who is very sarcastic. It's very tough for me to write posts. Like, a lot of times, like, it happens a couple of times where I get comments on a post, I'm just like, whoa, I did not expect this to happen because the way I wrote it was the complete opposite of the way the person's reading it. You know? So, like, it's such a fucking difficult world. And that's why I love talking to people on the phone. I have someone that I speak to, and they call me. You know, we talk on the phone. We fucking chat. Like we just, it's different. It's a different feeling. So.
I definitely think I'm grateful to live with somebody in this time that I like talking to because we talk a lot. We suck at TV. We suck at TV and things, but we're good at talking, and I think it helps a lot. She fucking hates my shit sometimes because I say a lot of the same things So what happens to me is I have my big working theories, and then I have an epiphany. But to get to the epiphany, I have to work through like all of it. But she knows all of it. But then if I just get to the epiphany and I just give her that part, she goes, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. And I don't know how to get around that like fucking difficulty of life. So I go through the whole fucking thing again, and then she gets bored. Fair enough. I'm not saying, look, on camera, it's one thing. If you live with me, it's a whole, like, she's an angel. She is the fucking best, okay?
I get a fucking best.
That is what I'm trying to say.
I tried to steal your girlfriend, but it didn't work, you know? I tried to, like, hey, come over to my place. She's like, no.
It is what it is. Sometimes I like to think that I'm a dapper individual that can hold her attention.
No, she's awesome. Like, honestly, I love meeting girlfriends.
Oh shit, my mom showed up at that moment. My mom showed up at that moment in the chat. Oi, right now.
Right now?
Right now. Java GY is up in here. That is my mom's. That's what's up.
I feel like putting on my Star of David.
That's amazing. Yo, what's up, mommy? Happy New Year's and all that. That's all it is.
Hold on. I have a should I do this? Am I allowed to answer my phone? Oh my gosh, can you tell me I'm doing something wrong? I
mean, I could like change my bunny there. Apparently, you just got compared to Tierra Whack. on that last tracks.
I was back.
No, Tierra Whack. I don't know if you know who she is. She's an artist, a lady that has a very distinct and interesting style.
Really interesting. I have to tiara like a headpiece.
Tierra Whack or something like that. Whack with an H. I don't know. I'll tell you after.
That is so much fun because I've never heard of her, so I would love to hear her music.
Crazy visuals. That's what I remember.
I don't do that. I don't do visuals. You guys know me. I don't do visuals.
There's no I. I'm wrong. She told me there's no I, it's just Tara, and I'm going to get the "you're wrong" speech after, and that's just kind of what it is, because when I'm wrong, I get to hear
support the "I'm wrong" speech. Don't worry about it.
It is what it is. I deserve it. I talk a lot. It is what it is.
No, I like your girlfriend, like, a lot. Like, a lot.
I like her, too.
I hope so. You better love her.
Yeah, she came up with just that advent calendar is just an essence of how she is.
That advent, like, I've done some really super dope shit for my band, but like, I'm stealing that. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's like, as soon as I get a man, like, the advent calendar is being like built. You know what I mean? Like, that's so dope. Like, that's amazing.
But like, no lie, in the ballpark of 50 plus people reached out to me over December to talk about the joy that it was for them to see what came next in this fucking advent calendar.
I was super happy till I got jealous.
I'm opening up a bunch of bags of weed and chocolate and shit, and people are going,
and the red one, like, what's in the red one? What's in the red one? And the selfie stick, like, if you're not going to use it, I need it.
No, I'm going to use it. No, I need to take better pictures. There's lots of people out there that expect me to take better pictures, and I get lectures when my pictures are blurry and shitty, so, like, I got to try harder on that front. But nah, she is really awesome, and she is really wonderful. But what I thought was really cool is how many people she brought joy to by accident, and she's that kind of person. You know, she seriously donates to, like, shit that nobody knows about. She'll, like, find out a cause, like, prisoners need better literacy. I'm a support.
I don't even doubt that. Like, I see her, and she's a good woman. Like, I knew it when I met her, and when I talked to her, she is a good woman. Like, I love that she does that.
Definitely give a shit.
You're a lucky guy.
I mean, she's also lucky. Just throwing it out there.
I don't know about all that, but, like, you know.
It is what it is. But she definitely got me to become a more compassionate and caring person.
Yeah.
She's good like that. But
see, women, we're the best. Like, we make you be better.
Like too. That's true. And like, I just think like just to go all safe in general with the gender norms, having a partner that backs you up and believes in your vision and helps you, and you guys like understand each other, is real important. Like, I would argue that even on a branding front, like, the fact that that girl Bonnie out there wanted to make that calendar for me has to represent like something about what I bring to the table that is interesting.
Definitely, because like you have I want to do things for people that I like, that I love, that I care about, but like you have to, like, those kind of things, like, that's time, that's like, you have to really, like, you deserve it, that's why she did it, kind of thing. Like, I don't doubt that you're a good man either, like, you know what I mean? Like, the reason why you got it and the reason why she wanted to do that and that much time is because you are a good guy. Period.
No, but like, she is better. I'm putting it on the record. Nobody's disputing that.
I'm taking your side. You're like, no. Like, and I don't know. I'm like, I'm in the middle now. I'm in the middle.
At the same time, like, I'm just better at different things. Like, I don't want to.
That's what it is. Balance, yo. But that's amazing. Balance.
Like, I'm gonna be real. My head is in 32 already. She's in 2020 still, and I'm like, that's kind of useful.
That's what I need. You know? Like, I'm in like 2040. I need someone to be like, hey, we're in 2020 now. Like, calm down. Like, I need that in my life. I need that gravity.
So like, she's real cool. I would argue having. I mean, I don't know how to find it. It's complicated. I would not want to be single right now. When I look at the current spectrum of dating and shit, it looks complicated.
Old school, so like, it's the worst. Like, I'm super cool with cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids, man. Like, that's like, I believe in that shit. Like, I'm not saying that that's what I want to do, but I'm super fucking okay with that. I'm super okay with being submissive in a relationship. And, like, that's just, like, not the Beyonce world we live in.
I mean, there's a lot to be said about the fact that people should have the right to choose what arrangements make the most sense to them within consent. Now, without going into a lot of specifics, just look at, like, consent-driven polyamory and the way middle-class America reacts to that shit. That's like, I'm not saying consent driven. Like, everybody's on board. Everybody's cool with it.
I'm super okay with open marriages. Like,
people are also really like critical of it. So I tried to discuss that stuff at work a couple of times. I learned real fucking fast that like there are some serious like taboo issues with a lot of points of views and a lot of things out there, and like people don't necessarily have open minds to a lot
You
of
know
things.
what's crazy? You know what's taboo 50 years ago? Being fucking black. So deal with it. Times are changing. Evolve. You know what I mean? Like, don't come with me with like, oh, this is not no. Being like, 50 years ago, being black was not accepted. So let's move with the times. Let's keep going, guys. Like, you know, like keep the wheel rolling. I can't. I don't accept that. Oh, because no. Taboo is not taboo because being black was fucking taboo. So fuck that shit.
I mean,
Sorry, that's how I stand on that.
I'm not somebody that needs to be convinced about what you're saying personally, but I definitely get what you're saying because, like, look, I qualify this as middle class normative behavior. This is that shit that was normal. So people like to call it normal today because, like yo, it was normal. It's what everybody grew up with.
What's normal today? It was not normal 20 years. We have to understand that things change, man. Like when I was in high school, we used to be able to say the word Amerindian, and that was like what I was taught to call the Native Canadian people. Supposedly that's racist. I didn't fucking know that shit until someone told me it was because I was taught that. So you know, times change, evolve or don't. You know what I mean?
I think people's adaptability is highly correlated to age, as you brought up earlier, and some people unfortunately have a lot of trouble adapting with the speed of accepted changes, and that, in my opinion, is on us old folk to kind of adapt faster. That's on us to adapt quicker.
But it's like you've learned something for 40 years of your life, and now for the last 5 you have to change. It's not really gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like if we go to like segregated places, like in the South, like there are some white racist people that's gonna be racist forever. Like we can't fix it.
Personally, I think
it's like a fucking generational thing. Like, you know, we just have to accept that those people exist, but the majority of us have to evolve and be better.
But I think we can still like change the normal. That is something I think can happen.
That's why I call it catalyst. Like, be the change you want to see. You know, it's not always easy, but like I have to be the change that if I'm not gonna show people what we're capable of, how can I expect them to know that we're capable of it? You know, be the change you want to see.
I definitely appreciate what you're saying. In the interest of like it's already 5:30 and I'm pretty sure you got stuff going on, I just wanted to kind of move towards the wrapping up. Like we can totally continue this on another day.
I know, we're not even talking about music anymore. It's totally my fault because I'm just like a sponge. I have so much like knowledge in my head, it's like random.
This is so good, yo. People are still invested. People really love this shit.
Are they still watching?
We're at 9, what I see. Jamal Hussein just commented, so yeah.
Yeah, what did he say? What did he say?
That's big. Catalyst is dope.
My friend.
He responded. I know. Yay. I see Jamal commenting on your statuses. Yo, Facebook is what it is.
I really like this person. He's this.
Yo, Jamal Hussein's the fucking guy.
I wrote a post recently. I won't tell you what post it was, but I wrote a post recently about him, and like it was a happy post, and I was like, yay.
Yo, honestly, that's a guy that I really like a lot. I want to talk to him on this channel.
You need to interview him as an artist. He's fucking dope, yo. He records a worker.
I got later, when I'm ready, later. I'm not gonna push the guy when he wants to.
Some people are in their zone. I'm like that too.
He's
you
like,
know me, like
he's right here on the chat though, so just in case anyone's wondering. But when he's ready, the platform's right here waiting. That's what it is. I respect that.
You hear that, Jamal? Like we got you over here. Or sorry,
we. Yo, at the same time, it's like, what if you're not in the headspace to be able to want to sit there for 3 hours and do this? You know,
I did not want to do this for 4 hours. Like, what, 2 days? Like, this got crazy. And now we've been talking. And I was like, it's just coming out. I'm being myself.
Yo,
you know,
this
I'm
is
talking.
The charm of this
not
shit.
even about music, but like I'm having a blast, yo. Like I'm having a fucking blast.
I think it's been like awesome. I definitely like. I'm running out of like organic ways to keep the conversation going, which is when my spidey sense says it's a good time to end on a high when it's fucking good, right? We don't want to end on a point where everybody's dipping and it's like we're stretching. This has been an amazing chat.
Laura, should I flash people? Is this time where I flash people?
No, don't do that. You'll get me fucking banned. You'll get me fucking banned. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. But
imagine. That'd be so awesome.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I guess it would get me buzz, but I don't know that I really want that.
Do you want that cloud or not?
No, like I don't want that cloud. I don't want that clout. I want the clout where we got this version of fucking, yeah, boobs should be legal though. That's a big point. Bonnie said that boobs are illegal, but I want the kind of clout that is Lorelai is making business moves. Lorelai is an effective project manager.
Yo, I signed the management. We're putting out some fucking tracks, yo. I'm about to. She's asking about COVID. I'm gonna make COVID work for me, like I've been doing. Like, I'm sorry, like I'm super comfortable. I want to do what I told my management I wanted to do. I want to do a like a musical. I want to take like 3 of my tracks and make a long video of a musical, because like I feel like a lot of my tracks hold one emotion. You know, I'm either heartbroken, I'm either happy, I'm either like see, like Can't Stop Me Now is like I'm fucking motivated. Like I want to take those songs that like all have that same emotion and make a musical out of it. I feel like people love musicals. Like they just love it. They love acting and music together. So why not do it? And I can do that from the comfort of my home.
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't mean to cut you off.
Like, don't steal my ideas.
No, I just found out that MF Doom passed away, and that's a big thing that's really fucked up. So I just got that message. So not to like put a damper on your shit, but rest in peace, MF Doom. That guy's
I don't know who that is, but anybody dying is like it's tragedy.
Nah, that's a big loss for hip hop. It's a big loss.
I have to Google him.
He's kind of like really lyrical. So yeah, sorry, that just distracted me. But yeah.
No, it's okay.
So yeah, that's nuts.
I'm so sorry. That sucks. So every time we lose someone in music, I get really sad. When we lost the guy from Linkin Park, oh my goodness.
Yo, that was huge for me. That was the first time that a celebrity death hit me, because Chester Bennington and Mike Shinoda are my heroes. And Chester passing away the way he did after that album came out really hit me in a big way. But anyway, rest in peace, MF Doom. That's huge. And sadness. Anyway.
So sad. Like I just like I'm gonna relate it to somebody I know that's a lyricist that I appreciated, and I can just imagine your pain. And I'm so sorry.
Well, it's more like he's one of those guys that like when he drops an album, you knew it was gonna just be proper. You just knew it. You know, like. Anyway, it is what it is. I don't mean to take away from you. Your moves are incredible. I
just want to make sure that we honor. Like I don't want to like we take a moment for silence kind of thing. Like I can't believe. You just got the message now? Like it
somebody just I saw a Facebook message, so I do check the shit, like just in case somebody's like your shit's fucked up. I need to know, you know. So I checked that, and dude's like MF Doom passed. I did the quick Google, and I'm like, oh shit, MF Doom passed. That's really sad. I didn't read it what happened or anything, but I just wanted to give that rest in peace, because that's a sad thing. Sure. Anyway, but you're gonna work COVID for you. Oh, so apparently he passed away on October 31st, but the family only made the news public today. That's still fucking sad.
That's dignity. That's the integrity and dignity. I don't know why they would wait that long, but I'm sure they had their freaking personal reasons, and I respect that.
I do too. I definitely with the media circle, it's gonna be nuts. But it's a lot to absorb, I guess, in a live moment. But anyway, for you though, we're gonna work. You're gonna work COVID because you're the kind of personality that's going to thrive in this thing. You've already proven that you're going to do the lives. You're going to keep making the music. You're going to keep grinding it out. You're going to keep pursuing the opportunities. And that's the kind of note I wanted to end on with you, is just that you really are a boss about your shit, but also a boss that's willing to adapt and grow. Somebody that I've seen that happen and play out with personally in the short time I've known you, so I can co-sign it. That is the kind of person you are, and maybe people may feel ways about things and little dramas here and there, but at the end of the day, I see you growing and making boss moves along the way. So for that, I just give you the flowers and commend you on that.
You know what, a bar I just wrote? I said, I'm not asking for everyone to love me, but ask about me, I keep it 100. It's not about being liked, it's about being respected.
I relate to that. But on that note, I'm going to do my little outro speech. So thank y'all for watching, everyone. Appreciate y'all for being here, especially all y'all on the stream. For those of you on the Twitch, we are going to raid Don Smooth so that you can get some fucking proper vibes on and show some love to Montreal royalty like that. Follow Don Smooth when we get there and do the raid. So leave some comments if you're watching this in the future on YouTube. Follow, like, subscribe, all that shit. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, CJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Scribble. The dope. Support what we do. If you feel the vibe, patreon.com/behindthatsuit. You know what it is. Links in description for the people not live. Appreciate everyone again. And live long and prosper, everyone. For real. Happy motherfucking New Year. To me, 2020 was an experience, and I loved it. So here we are.